some pretty rabid fans.
People tell us we're good, and that's all that matters.
That's exactly. I don't care if we're good as long as
people tell me I'm good.
As long as people believe the illusion, cool.
Critics could care less, but we got fans.
And that's why we do this every week. It's really early.
It's early.
For a podcast.
It's not early.
For our podcast.
This is 6 hours earlier than we normally record.
Roughly. Yeah. So
I'm only on my second cup of coffee. I haven't actually even started it yet.
I'm 2 bites into a muffin and have had 3 sips of coffee.
I left my muffin in the other room.
I have about a pound of peanut butter M&Ms left.
It's really unfair that I'm like, I'm just sipping on some coffee, and you're like, I got a muffin. Dylan, who weighs, I don't know, 150 pounds less than I do, is like,
I've got a gazillion pounds.
I got 10 pounds of M&Ms to eat.
This bag actually started at 2 pounds 6 ounces, so I'm sure there's more than a pound.
I don't know. You put it away.
It makes me so sad. I mean, the flip side, too, is, like, dude's got a lot of self-control. He bought a 2.5 pound bag of M&Ms, and there's still some left.
Yeah, I know.
So.
That's why I don't buy the little bag, because once that you get to the last, like, half of the bag, the last half goes real quick.
Real fast.
You're like, man, there's only a couple left. And you eat them all. This way you can just have a handful. You don't get to that point for a while. And they're full of protein.
And full of protein.
They're not full of protein.
They are.
Did you ever see the 5 pound or 6 pound bags of gummy bears or whatever at, like, Walgreens or whatever? I remember when I walked into the Walgreens in Portland, I saw like this giant bag of gummy bears. I'm like, I have to have this. And I bought like 5 or 6 pounds of gummy bears for whatever reason. I ate them in about 3 hours.
Ooh, how did that end up?
It did not end well.
Yeah. If you ate that entire bag, that's 100 grams of protein.
The entire bag.
That's a lot of protein.
I can have 2 of my protein shakes and have 100 grams of protein.
Well, that's because
But I bet you they're not as good as M&M's, are they?
Oh, they're really good.
No.
I'm not even like... The protein shakes that I'm drinking right now, they're called Frosty Chocolate.
Oh.
And have you ever had... We're West Coast, so we don't have a lot of Dunkin' Donuts out here. But have you ever had frozen hot chocolate from Dunkin' Donuts? That's what it tastes like.
Oh, that's not bad, though.
It's not bad
Did you
at
say
all.
frozen hot chocolate?
Yeah.
I did. It's
Why don't you
so good.
Ride your jumbo shrimp into the ocean, you oxymoron.
And it go away. Anyway, it's real good. I've had it. I haven't had it from Dunkin'. I've had it from Dairy Queen. Dairy Queen in Utah sells it. It's real good.
It's so good.
Frozen hot chocolate.
You can. It's delicious.
It can't be frozen and hot at the same time.
It can. It's delicious.
It's two descriptions of temperature.
Welcome
that are
to
opposite.
The episode of 41. The episode of 41.
The episode of 41.
Once we turn over, once we're over 40, we're very tired. We don't like to get up in the morning, and we can't read.
Yeah.
Obviously. And
this is like an hour before Adam's normally even to the office. So.
Yeah.
Bright and early.
I'm crazy today.
Yeah. Bright-eyed and bushy-tailed, as we call it.
My name is Adam West.
And I'm Cliff Johnson.
I'm Dylan.
That's Dylan.
Dylan the peanut butter M&M hoarder. This week, we have got some stuff for you. We're going to talk about some stuff coming up in Season 6 of Overwatch. A big change with Mercy.
In Overwatch?
In Overwatch, yeah. I actually have been paying attention to what we talk about.
You know who we're talking about.
I know who that is.
He's never played Overwatch, but he knows so much about the meta.
I know, right? How about this? PSVR is cheaper now.
Kind of.
Yeah.
Well, maybe it's actually a better value.
It's a better value.
There you go.
Yeah. And the Vive is cheaper, too, which that excited me, even though I'm still not sure if I'm going to do that.
Yep.
People are leaving bad reviews for Dota 2 because they want Half-Life 3. Are those two the same kind of thing?
No, but they're the same company. We'll talk about it more.
That's dumb. And then something I added into the show notes, PUBG hit... Number one for concurrent users, knocked somebody out of first place for the first time in I don't know how long.
Ever.
All right. Questions from Vinny, Josh, Colby, John Caradad, Rich, and Miles. Of course, Miles finally has a question for us. We're going to talk about some cheap free games, including a Humble Jumble Bundle. That's a lot to say. And maybe a PlayStation Plus free game leak. We'll talk about that. And Sony is in the troll corner this week, and we will tell you why.
Perfect.
Yeah, okay.
Well, the good news is we don't actually have to speculate about PS Plus because they announced it this morning. So.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Oh, okay, sweet. But first, we start with what you're playing. I will go first. I started back in on the PUBG because I got my laptop back.
Nice.
And I was able to play it again finally, and it was super fun. And it's funny because I was talking to my friend Brian, who is like on a competitive Overwatch team, like international player, blah, 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 blah. And I was I had asked, H1Z1 King of the Kill or PUBG. Are they exactly the same? Should I not play H1Z1? Should I give it a shot? What are the differences? And he explained it to me and on and on and on. And I was nice to be able to point out, because in that week and a half that my laptop was gone, I don't know what the developers did with PUBG, because I know they're constantly working on it and updating it and patching it, on and on and on. But before, janky frame rates, glitchy audio, a lot of lag, just buggy kind of stuff that you expect.
Interesting. I've never had that.
Really? None?
Oh, I've dropped in and my buildings were blobs.
Weird.
Yeah.
I mean, I've played less than you guys have too, but that's strange.
Apparently, it's pretty common. But your buildings won't load in, and you can actually get into them, and then you can abuse that, and then hide in these blobs.
I did get stuck on a building once, which kind of sucked.
Yeah.
But
anyway. Just in the week and a half that I didn't have my laptop, the amount of work that's gone into that, and just to optimize it and clean it up and get it pretty and ready for release, because the release is coming up.
Yeah. They say before the end of this year.
Yeah, so. It's insane. Like, I'm hitting mid-50s on ultra settings.
Nice. With
the frame rate, and I've just got my laptop, and it handles it just fine.
That's awesome.
No more of that, because I don't know if you notice whenever you load in like the queuing area, a lot of stuttering with the audio, kind of like almost like feedbacky kind of sound.
Yeah, I turned that off.
Yeah,
I don't want to hear it. None of you children.
The voice chat is gross.
Yeah. Oh, the voice chat's dumb. So. But anyway, yeah, so I did that, and I also did my first Mixer stream solo last night.
I watched him play PUBG last night. It
was terrible, because I didn't realize until the end of this. Well, that was whatever, but I didn't realize until the end of the stream when Cliff is like,
why don't you have game audio? He's like, I don't.
Oh, yeah, so my game audio didn't go out at all.
I'm sitting there watching, like, I'd had it muted because I was actually playing another game. I was kind of playing and watching at the same time, and I finished my game, I popped into his, and it's just silence. I'm like, oh, maybe his audio's broken. That's weird. And like 20 seconds go along, and then I just hear Adam like cursing. I'm like, oh no, he's there. It's good. We're all good.
Or like a gunshot just hits me out of nowhere, and I scream like a girl out of.
He did really well, actually. His
last, number 5?
Number 5, yeah. In the last, the last 2 or 3 minutes of that round was really good. Like, this round got really close, and Adam took out a dude on a building, and
took out the dude on the building. And I took out the dude like on the ground.
Yeah, he did really well.
Yeah, but I was
shooting
so
at things.
close.
I'm like, I don't even know what he's shooting at.
Yeah, you got to watch some Twitch stream. Watch some streamers that play this game, because you're just like, what is that dude shooting at? Oh, now I see what he's looking at. I know what to look for.
Yeah, he did really well, though. It was fun to watch. And you said the closest you got is 2 now,
I got
right?
number 2. Yeah, number 2.
You got some scraps of a chicken dinner.
Yeah. I got the bones.
You got nothing.
Right. I got nothing now. No,
Second's the worst.
Yeah.
I'd rather take third.
First loser, yo.
Yeah.
Aw, thanks. I feel great.
Well, it's like you almost touched glory. You were an inch away.
You almost touched glory. This is... in our King of the Hill video game.
Okay.
Love it.
I think that's all I played. I've been playing Boggle on my phone.
Close enough.
Okay.
Yeah.
Who wants to go next?
What's the best boggled word you've boggled?
What was it? It was really good. It was a really long, crazy big word that it was like in the second round with a triple letter or triple word and double letter. I can't remember what it was. It was really good though. I was very excited.
You didn't screenshot it?
No. Why would I? How?
This is 2017, Adam. You can share those moments on social media platforms. You should be streaming Boggle from your phone.
Adam's Facebook is far more interesting than his Boggle scores.
Sometimes.
But what if you put like kerfuffle on there?
Kerfuffle?
Kerfuffle, I don't believe is an actual word that you can use in an actual...
No, if it's a word, you can boggle it, unless it's too big for Boggle. I don't know what the limitations are on Boggle.
Tell us about your video games, Dylan.
I played PUBG too.
Oh, well...
But I also didn't have a lot of internet.
No.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah. Dylan didn't have any internet for
I didn't have internet for a
5
long
days.
time. I screwed it up, but it's fixed now.
Yay!
But before that, so I played some single-player video games. But before that, I played some more PUBG. We play a lot of squads. I definitely like running around with multiple people.
And you're up to like 2 or 3 chicken dinners now, right?
Yeah. Nice. I got 2 in 3 days. Yeah. Two wins with 2 different squads, actually, so that was cool. I was the common denominator, though. So
sure.
It's all you.
No, I'm the lucky rabbit's foot.
Okay.
I don't really perform that well, but I.
So when you guys play squads, do you have like one person? Do you have one person that's like the point person that's straight up calling the shots, like we're going this way, we're going that way, or do you guys just kind of run around and stay around each other? Or
a
like
little
having
of both, I think. Yeah. I think we kind of take turns, like, picking where we're going to drop. Because it does help. When if two people are telling you to go two different ways, that doesn't get you anywhere. You'd rather stick together. But usually it's pretty easy to agree on what you're doing, especially once you kind of see where the circle is heading.
Right.
And, like, I just don't drive, generally. Except now I don't let my buddy drive, because we were, like, at number 2. We were like the second to last team, and we were like circling on the car, and then we weren't paying attention to our car health, and it blew up, and we lost. we were so kitted out with everything you could need to win, and then we blew up in the car for just being like lame-os, like driving in circles, because we couldn't see them. Like sometimes when you're on a hill and you're like driving around and like you're hearing the shots and they might be laying in the grass, or it's hard and you just can't spot them. And until you don't, it doesn't do any good to really get out of the car unless you know you're away from where it was coming from. But other than that, I played Until Dawn because I had no internet. So I was like, what single-player games do I have that I need to finish playing? And Until Dawn was one of those because I hadn't finished it yet. And it was awesome.
Cool.
Great twist at the end that kind of... Something I wouldn't typically like in a game or movie, for that matter, because this is, again, a very decision-based, like, interactive story kind of game.
Is this the one about the group of kids who played the prank on a sister or something?
Yes.
Okay.
They play the prank on the little sister, and then they run away and fall down a mountain, and they die, and then you come back a year later to celebrate their life and kind of put those...
I've not played it, so...
sounds good. What kind of game is it?
It's like Heavy Rain.
Sure.
It is third person. You move around the space and you find clues and things. But it comes down to making decisions and a lot of like kind of quick time events, but not in the way that like mashing buttons to rip out a Gorgon's eye sucks. Like quick time events is like you have to quickly climb up the slope, and if you don't, it changes the course of the game. Yeah. It's not like you fail a quick time event and you start over. Like either you make it or you don't. And some characters will die or not by the end. You can save them all. It is possible. A lot of them might die because you make one silly decision at the last minute kind of game. But
I did that. Sorry.
Adam did it. I definitely recommend playing this. It was free on PS Plus recently, so you should have it in your library. You should have it in your library. It probably could take up to 10 hours to play through.
Sure.
I think it's 10 chapters, and each one you can easily complete in probably an hour. And it's something you might want to go back and play again after you kind of see the ending and like, oh, what if I did these things a little differently? But it does have a good twist, I think, and it's got some good actors in it, so it's a lot of fun.
That's cool. I like things with a good twist.
And then the other game I tried to play was Infamous Second Son.
Oh, nice.
Which I was a huge fan of the first two Infamous, and I actually had this downloaded. I wanted to play.
I love Second Son.
I wanted to play Ratchet and Clank, but I never installed it on my PS4, and I had no internet, so I couldn't. So I resorted to Infamous. But I don't know if I just need to play it some more to get more powers and stuff, but the controls felt a little weird. I don't...
Okay.
It's like 4 or 5 years old, too, isn't it?
Yeah. I want to say it was I think it was the first or second.
But I just felt like I was doing some wonky stuff, and it just didn't quite feel right at some points. And I never had that. I didn't remember having that experience with the first two Infamous. And it was kind of like if I was running away from my enemies, it would be very hard to shoot them from my backside. Like there was this small...
Maybe that's the problem. You're trying to shoot people from your backside.
Well, but you can rotate around and throw your arm behind you and throw fireballs. But if they're like directly behind you, it just like doesn't work.
Sure.
I don't know. That's kind of what it felt like to me. I'm not sure if that's actually what it was, or if there was something else happening within the game that wasn't allowing me to shoot. But it just didn't feel super smooth.
Yeah. So when I played it, I even asked that. I asked Kevin or I asked Miles or somebody, and I was like, I just feel like this boss fight or whatever, this is just way harder than it should be because the controls they're either not keeping up with what I'm doing or there's something that I'm not getting about these controls for whatever reason because I should not be stuck on this same boss for 3 days in a row and just keep dying and dying and dying. There's something I'm missing. And it always felt like it came down to the controls. But Kevin was all operator error or something like that, or I think it's the player, and I'm like, no, there's
there's
legit
blew
something
through those
weird.
first 2 games and loved them.
Yeah.
So there's something different here. I don't know exactly what it is.
What did you think of the way that they built up, the way they use Seattle as like the reference for
It's
the city?
cool. It's
really
definitely cool running through Seattle. I immediately found the Space Needle because it's, I mean, huge.
Did you do the mission to go up to the top of that yet?
I haven't done it. It's very early in the game. I haven't played it very long, but I did want to check it out.
Yeah, I bought this maybe 6 months ago. I haven't tried it yet.
Yeah.
It's a lot of fun.
I guess
it is fun.
I guess spoiler alert: if the rest of you haven't played it, it'll be available to you next Tuesday if you have PS Plus, because it is one of the free games next month.
That's a good tease.
Yeah,
Thank you.
Spoilers.
Thank you. And before you move on, what about when you go across the 90 bridge into Seattle?
Yeah.
That was cool.
Yeah,
that was because I used to drive across that every
was
day for
traffic?
work. No traffic because the bridge is destroyed.
See, and I think I'd be willing to trade a destroyed bridge for less traffic.
I'm into it. Anything else?
I like it. No.
Okay.
I got some stuff.
Before you do that,
All right.
I forgot last night. Because I told you I signed up for PS Now.
Yeah.
I played God of War Ascension.
Oh, how was it?
Amazing. Like, I don't know how I missed that one. I don't know if it was just a Vita game that got remastered on the way up or what, because I missed that one.
It was good.
It's incredible. And I played it on my PC with an Xbox controller.
Nice.
That's wacky.
It was the weirdest thing. Anyway, I might want to talk more about that later on, but I forgot I played that too.
I have God of War 3 I need to play. I haven't gotten there yet.
So good. It's so good.
I played a bunch of stuff. I finished Titanfall 2, which the campaign. It's really good. I think that game's available now. I mean, first of all, if you have EA Access, it's free. So EA Access is probably the way to play it. It's like sign up for whatever, I think it's $5 a month or something. You'd be able to play that in Battlefield 2 in a month and be done. I mean, you should pay the $30 and get it all year because it's a great deal. But it's really fun. It's like maybe 6 hours long. The campaign's great. The gun feel in that game is amazing. Interestingly enough, I think that game actually feels better when you're not inside your Titan.
Really?
The Titan fighting's fine and super powerful, and you've got all these cool guns, and you feel really big and imposing. But like I went back to I've been playing Titanfall 2 all week, and then I went and played Destiny over the weekend, and I love Destiny. I think Destiny's great. It has a great feel to it. I always feel very agile. I think the gun feel in Destiny is great, and I think Titanfall 2 might feel better.
Okay.
It's cool because they've got wall running, which feels. I think it's kind of dumb in some games, but it feels supernatural in the Titanfall games. There's no fall damage in Titanfall because you've got you've got a special suit on. It just felt really good when I played it. So I'd really, really recommend Titanfall 2. I did not play the multiplayer at all. I have no interest in playing it, but the single player was super fun. And like I said, for $5 on the EA Access, if you're on the Xbox or the PC, it's worth trying. So I played it on the Xbox, and it was great.
I'll be on both.
I also played Battlefield 1, which was a terrible game to play directly after playing Titanfall, because you go from being like this super powerful, awesome mech guy, or this like super agile, awesome guy outside your mech, to like a World War I soldier with like this really like the first mission in Battlefield 1 is they're like, I'm going to put you in this giant, massive, slow moving tank, and I'm like through the mud, and like. The game looks okay. Like Titanfall's a far better looking game than Battlefield 1 too. Battlefield 1 has really good cutscenes of the acting. And
is Battlefield 1? Is that the one that came out last year? Or whatever?
It came out about 9 months ago.
And it's the really.
It's also free on EA Access.
Isn't it the really like almost gut wrenching to play?
Yeah. Oh yeah. Geez. Like that,
don't you? Isn't like every time you die?
The trailer for it was that way, where like there was like a 12-minute. Like kind of intro where you die and then you get pushed to another guy, and
right? But don't they give you a dog tag or a story to go along with the
name of the person? And
the
the campaign's actually like little vignettes, so it's not like you play as a player and then go through an entire war. It's you're this guy for a campaign, and then you're another guy for a campaign, different parts of World War I. And so currently I'm playing as a guy who was a chauffeur before the war and now is a tank driver. And it's fun. It's not a bad game, but like those two games right next to each other were terrible to like back to back, because it went from like this super fast paced action. Yeah. I'm in a giant mech suit that has a missile launcher and can like put up a bullet shield, to like I'm in the slowest, most unwieldy tank you could possibly ever imagine ever. You know, I mean, it was cool. I got to shoot Nazis. I liked that.
Right.
But, you know, I guess they weren't Nazis in World War I, but, you know, I got to shoot a bunch of bad guys. But, like, God, like, the difference between those two games was just too much. So I'm going to go back to Battlefield 1 because I'd like to beat, you know, same thing. It's like a 6 or 7 hour single player, but it was bad going from one to the other. So
I'm going to play that before Titanfall.
yeah, and that's it. Like, if you're going to play those two games, play Battlefield 1 first and then play Titanfall.
I'm not a fan of... Just an aside, I'm not a fan of vehicle sequences generally in games. Like, I never have liked, hey, this mission's in a tank. Hey, this mission's in this helicopter with gun. It's like, well, these...
Outside of, like, simulators, I pretty much agree.
Yeah, like, because they don't ever feel like the game. It feels like, oh, I'm on this rail with this big gun that really doesn't feel like anything, and I'm shooting things, and this doesn't really play like anything else in the game. Can I just
like,
go play
I
the
hated
game
the
now?
Warthog. I hate like the Mako in Mass Effect 1 was the worst, like literally the worst. So yeah, whatever. I'm gonna not talk about this for very much, but I played more Nidhogg. Like I keep going back to that game. I can't stop. My kid plays it with me, and it's the most amazing thing in the world, and I love it so much. We've got I posted a video on our YouTube if you don't know what it looks like just a 20-minute, because it's really hard to explain what it is. But
is that the one that I was?
You watched the live stream, and I cut the live stream down from 60 minutes to like 20 minutes.
Watching you and your kid play that game, it is the funnest thing. I love watching.
And if you don't know what this game looks like, go find a video of it.
Yeah.
Go watch.
Go find
Cliff's
our video. Of it. Yeah.
But like, just so you know what's going on, because it's
so
weird.
hard to explain. But we found out my kid and his friend were playing it. He had a sleepover and they were playing over the weekend, and he's like, Dad, we got to try this new mode. And normally I'm like, ugh. Anytime you're like, we're gonna play with the crazy cheat modes on, I'm like, bleh. Just like, to me, those often make the game worse. And this one he's like, we're put on low gravity and then put on boomerang. I'm like, well, what does that do? He's like, when you throw your weapons at people, instead of just going off the screen, they boomerang back at you. And it adds like, so low gravity makes you can jump. No. You can catch them usually in your face. But it like added this whole extra level to the game where people would throw the sword and you have to jump over it, then jump on it again. And then if the person that threw it wasn't paying attention, it would hit them, or you could throw it over them, they'd jump, and then it would catch them on. Oh, God.
So your kid actually wanted to enable a mode that made it more challenging.
Oh, it makes it more challenging, but it makes it so much more fun. Oh, God. It's so good.
Your kid is awesome.
He is. And Nidhogg 2 is so good. It's like $15. It's on the PC and the PS4. Like, just go buy it.
Is there online play?
You can play it on. I've not tried it yet, but yeah, there's ranked online leaderboards.
Really?
Yeah. You can play an 8-player tournament, and I think maybe during Extra Life, we should do.
I almost said Afterlife.
Yeah, close enough. During Extra Life, we should try and do like an 8-player tournament. Thing. It's so fun. It's so fun. Let's see. I played Agents of Mayhem, which Dylan talked about last week, and it's extraordinarily average. I played a friend. That's what I was playing last night while you were playing PUBG, and it's just like, yes, it's fine. Okay. It's not good. It's not bad. It's just you're a guy with a gun.
So close to being something, but where it could have just felt like Saints Row, the way you move and shoot around with your weapons, it doesn't.
The guns feel more generic than anything I've ever shot.
It's very stiff.
It's real stiff. You have 3 different players that have 3 completely different sets of abilities, and I don't really like any of them. The game looks terrific.
I have heard that the first, and it is true, I think that the first 3 characters are pretty widely considered the least interesting.
Oh, so you get more after that?
Yeah. There's like 12 total, and all the other 9 are more interesting than the first 3 they start you with. Yeah. But that doesn't really solve any problems, because if you don't spend the time to get
to them. Yeah, I played an hour. I think I'm going to give it another hour. Like my first thought was like, I'm just going to send this, because I read it from GameFly. Like, I'm just going to send this back. Like I can get Rabbids versus Mario instead, and it's just
because that's out now.
It is out now, and so I'm like, but I'm going to give it another shot. And if I don't like it after another hour, I'm going to send it back, and then hopefully by next week I'll have Mario and Rabbids. Nice. And then this morning, I played Blood Bowl 2, which I've asked, like Vinny is actually a big fan of, and I've kind of asked some other people about it. Dylan's actually played the tabletop version, and I'm kind of asked, like,
there's a tabletop version?
Yeah, it's a Warhammer game, and I'm like, what is it? And everyone, like, kind of gives this weird, like, it's kind of this circular talking, whatever. And, like, literally, if you ever have wanted to play turn-based football, except that you're fighting like orcs That's what this is.
Yeah.
I'm looking at the trailer.
It's real fantasy football.
It's really interesting. So like literally, it's a
that's what they call it. It's literally printed on the box.
Yeah, it's two halves. Like there's a first half and a second half. It's not quarters.
There's a cheerleader polar bear.
There are cheerleaders. They might be polar bears. And you literally just like the ball gets kicked off and then you catch it. And then you've got, I don't know, I'm not sure if it was like 11 players or I'm not sure. Probably an actual football team's worth of players. And you just like, okay, run over here, tackle this guy, run over here, block this guy, run over here, And once you're done, you say, other team, take your turn, and they do the same things, and you're just trying to score goals. And it's fun. Like, I think the games last a little long. I played for an hour this morning, and I only got like 3/4 of the way through the game.
Yeah,
but
that's too long.
It's fun. It's very different. It's like if you like sports games, it might not be your jam. If you like turn-based strategy games, it's a very different version of turn-based strategy that is probably more accessible than like your traditional like turn-based tactics game. It's a little easier. The game does a lot to make it easy. Like it tells you what all you don't have to roll dice. It tells you what your dice rolls are and tells you what you can do, and it tells you how far you can move and what the odds of you tripping on your way there is. And there's some really fun animations. It's just different. I live streamed it this morning. I'll be making a YouTube video of it probably this week. If it's something you think you might like, if you like strategy games, or even if you like football, like it's a very different version of football. It might be something that
it might be something that makes you like football.
Yeah, exactly. That's the thing is like I'm not a football fan at all. Like I think everyone I talk to, they're like, oh, there's a Seahawks game this weekend. I'm like, oh, I guess traffic might be crappy. And they're like, you're not watching? I'm like, nah. So I watch soccer. Soccer's a real sport. Anyway, give Blood Bowl a look. It's they just launched the Legendary Edition, which I think is like all
launched, or is it?
It's coming
launched?
out. Maybe it's in the next couple of days. But it's real fun. It was something that I wasn't 100% sure about, and I had a good time. I'll definitely play it again.
I'm gonna have to play it some more. I haven't played for a while since it came out the first time.
Yeah, give it a look.
But yeah, it was. I haven't played in a while, but I have miniatures for the tabletop game and have played quite a bit with some of my friends.
I believe the correct response is nerd. Anyway,
it is a really good game, though. It's time consuming as strategy games are, though. So I think you have to know that going in.
Yeah, I would guess a full game is an hour and a half.
Yeah. Of course, that time's going to shrink a little bit the more familiar you are with the rules, because then it's going to take you less time to spend doing your turns, because you'll be able to better know what everything does rather than guessing and checking what your best options are. You'll just
figure
kind
out
of
the strategy
know them.
of it. Like I could definitely see there being a lot of depth to it. It's kind of Othello. Like it's easy to play, but I'm sure it's hard to master.
There's a high ceiling for this game, and a lot of the real good stuff comes later when you play the game more and your characters start getting more skills and they start getting better and they start losing eyes and then they become scary, so the other team's intimidated by them.
That's cool.
So like there's all of these other layers the more you do play this
in the
game.
I don't know if they actually have it in the board game, but like you can get sponsors, and the more sponsors you have, the more money you have, so the more better players you can hire.
The game is literally like a translation of the board game, like down to the rules. And apparently this Legendary Edition is just to make that better, and they're clarifying the things that weren't done quite perfect the first time around, and just general other updates in general is my understanding. So
Legendary Edition you can pre-order now. It is available on September 5th.
Ah, there we go.
So
after Labor Day. Good stuff.
Yeah, so Tuesday.
Yeah. Good
Tuesday.
stuff.
All right, and that's that. That's what we've been playing. So now we move on to, as we always do,
news.
Thank you. I'm singing, he's yelling, it's cool.
Yeah, it's still early. It's still very early.
It's 9:26.
Ooh, I don't like that.
I love it.
Let's start off with, surprisingly, a couple of Overwatch stories. First up, though, Overwatch Season 6 changes detailed. Things are happening for Season 6. What are they, and why should I care? As somebody who has never played Overwatch.
You shouldn't. I mean, I guess
you should play Overwatch.
Well, with the arrival of my Xbox One X Scorpio,
even though everyone's going to be playing Destiny 2 pretty soon, I'm sure. So Overwatch is not going to be on your.
You know what also comes out next? Wait, it doesn't come out Tuesday, does it? Does it come out Wednesday?
What?
Destiny?
Destiny, I think, comes out on Monday.
No, because that's the 4th.
Yeah, I don't know.
Tuesday the 5th.
Yeah, usually they come out on Tuesday, but I think it actually comes out on the 6th, which is Wednesday. Whatever.
Oh, yeah, that's really weird.
Yeah.
Anyway, that's a tangent.
Well,
it's not the 6th yet, so we're not talking about Destiny. We're talking about Overwatch Season 6.
All right.
Which is so many 6s.
First of all, I want to say something about these videos that Overwatch releases on Play Overwatch, their YouTube channel, and I'm sure they are
Everywhere
all kinds
else.
of places for you to see.
Maybe.
But Jeff Kaplan, who's kind of the face of Overwatch, as a human, not a character. I love these videos. He just addresses the camera. They're a couple minutes long with whatever they're doing, whatever big update they're adding. And they're very transparent about what they're doing with the game. They're like, we got feedback from players, our own things that we want to do with Overwatch. These are the things we recognize. We want to make this be able to happen, so we're going to do this thing. This thing might be crazy. Some people might not like it. Some people might like it. But we're going to try it and see what works because we feel like something needs to change.
It's the only way you can do it.
Change.
Iterative change is the only way to get something better.
But I absolutely love the way that these are done, so I just want to give a little...
The video I'm watching right now, the thumbnail for it, he looks so high.
Yeah,
Anyway.
he's kind of, I don't know, there's something about him. He's, kind of he's a funny dude, but I love the guy
Cool.
just from these videos. He's very likable, and he just talks well about the game that I'm sure he knows very well.
Yeah, I'm sure.
So
what are they doing for Season 6?
Season 6, they're going to, make the season a little shorter. So rather than 3 months, it'll be 2 months.
Sure.
So
So what exactly is a season then in Overwatch? I guess I'm missing...
It's in competitive play, so you play for 2 months and try and rank as high as you can, and then at the end of that, they give out rewards based on how well you did,
performed.
and then
they reset
the season. And I think that's actually another change they're going to make is how far you drop at the end of the season.
And this does a few things. Just shrinking the season does one thing is a lot of times they find that players are very excited at the beginning of the season, but by the end of the third month,
They've kind of petered out.
Yeah. So wrapping that competitive play up a little faster, and then rebooting it should keep players more engaged. And I think that is true. Because 3 months is a lot. Like,
it is. It's a long time.
You might drop out for a week because you have to go do this thing or that thing, right?
But it's hard to maintain. Like if you're a high level player, it's hard to maintain those high rankings. For an entire month because Overwatch has a decay, right?
Yeah, for the top tier players.
Yeah.
So a lot of this is geared towards different levels of play.
So you have to play a certain number of games per day or games per week, or else you'll just drop down rankings automatically.
You'll start
you can't just like get first place.
You can't just stay there. I'm here.
Yeah,
I'm here to stay. But shrinking the season length you will see less rewards. At the end of the season based on...
But
there's going to be more seasons, so you're probably expected to see about the same amount of stuff.
Cool.
Also, when you start up the next season, you're more likely to place near where you ended the previous season.
To come into the next season where you ended the first season?
Before they had a philosophy that you would climb your way back up to where you were and beyond, but I think they're going to try something now where it's more like... You don't have to spend so much time climbing back to where you were so you can climb higher.
I think a lot of competitive games are going that route because Rocket League did the same thing where Rocket League, it was like literally at the end of the season, they erased everything. And so everyone started over. And so like your first couple games could be you and some other rookies, or it could be you and a Grandmaster Rocket champion. Yeah. And it was really awful.
So so when, let's say the season ends, I'm 5th place, which would be amazing, but I'm not.
You'll be closer to 5th place.
I would be closer to 5th place, or I'd come back in at 5th place.
Probably closer to.
So kind of like when they do heat races for stock car racing.
Sure.
Where you do qualifying races to see where you're going to place in the starting of the actual race.
You're still going to play your 10 placement matches against players of different abilities. But like I had a particularly bad season, and probably I played bad at certain points, but part of it, I think, is I had really bad placement matches because I had people leave or disconnect or whatever it was. So I had like 4 games that were just terrible because there wasn't even 6 players on my team. Yeah. And then on top of how much they like to drop you before the season, I got placed really low. So I spent a whole lot of time climbing back to where I was rather than climbing higher to where maybe I should be. Yeah. So that's kind of their philosophy here is to... Because it is like, it's all about the climb. If you play competitive, you want to see yourself climbing. And if you're not doing that, you're not going to play.
Restart it. Well, and it led to, like in Rocket League specifically, a lot of really toxic players, because there'd be players that would be really, really good that just had to get through their placement matches. And so literally they'd just start, they'd hammer you. You'd be down 2-3 goals a couple minutes in, and they'd just start spamming like, just forfeit, just forfeit, just forfeit. I'm trying to climb. I don't want to play this game anymore. You're going to lose. Just forfeit. And I'm like, it was a really toxic environment.
It doesn't do any good to put Superman.
I'm there to play. I don't want to forfeit just because you're in a hurry.
I mean, Joe Schmo from the street. So
it's good. I think it's a good good change.
Another big change: control point maps were before best of 5. Now they're just going to be best of 3.
So you'll be able to get through a control map faster.
So those are the kind of like the King of the Hill style maps, where there is a single point on the map, and you control that point for the 100 percentage points, and then next round. These matches can take a long time if it goes to game
3 or
5.
Yeah.
How long does one typically last?
It could be.
It totally depends on the.
I mean, I play a lot
players.
of games where it's like 99 to 99, and you're fighting for that last point, and then you have to play again, and then it's 2-2, and then you're in the final round, right? So these games can last a long time, which sucks when you lose, because you invested a whole lot of time in this one game and you just lost, and now you have to go play another game, right?
Right.
Rather than if it was 3 rounds, you could almost play 2 games in the same amount of time, right?
Oh, okay.
So
Yeah.
And a lot of the game modes are kind of, I mean, it's you do one and then the other. So this is kind of the same thing. It's 2 out of 3, which they do in quick play. So they're making that change.
Cool,
and I think that's a good idea, because there's a lot of times where I've played control maps and I'm like, man, this game's been going on a long time. They're fun. They're very satisfying when you win, but man, it hurts when you lose those. So I think that's a good small little adjustment.
Cool. Any other changes?
I think they're changing the decay time for high level people. They'll decay faster, I believe, right?
No, actually, I think it's decay. I think
what I remember is that you will have to. They're not making you play so many matches to avoid the decay.
So yeah, it's saying what I'm saying is you only have to play 5 games a week instead of 7, and you won't automatically decay as quickly.
Perfect. Yeah.
So you're not going to automatically lose rank just because you don't.
I think overall it's just a lot of real positive changes, and like you said, it's having shorter seasons will enable them to react faster to changes.
Yeah, and be able to change things more frequently, right? Because I think that's why this game's very successful. Yep. And then the one other note here. Just general matchmaking changes, specifically at higher levels, it might cause you to have longer queue times, but you're going to find better quality games.
Nice.
So they're not going to stuff a Smurf in with higher level players.
Is that what they call people, Smurfs?
Well, Smurfs are high level people that have a second account with lower level, a low level person. So they can play lower level matches.
Yeah. I was actually being literal, like if you were playing against a Smurf probably wouldn't fare well with their tiny hands and a controller
stuff everywhere,
a keyboard. But
they don't have a lot of fingers either.
Yeah, but that way you find teams that are better suited to be against each other. So you might experience longer queue times, but in general, you should have a better game. Yeah. So I mean, that's all good stuff you want to hear. So.
Yeah. A couple things we don't actually have in our show notes too. I know we're going to talk about Mercy next, but Deathmatch is live now, right?
Now, yeah. I haven't done that yet. I don't know if I will. I should probably try it out just so I can report back on my experience. Especially, I'm very curious to see how. I want if our elimination's handled the same way. I don't know. So it's something I'm going to have to experience for myself, and I'm curious to see how different characters do, plays, how the tanks play. Do they have a chance? Do these characters?
I will see.
So it'll be interesting.
I've also heard the May animated shorts were good. I haven't watched it either, but I heard
it was really great. I really liked it.
Yeah.
So
still haven't played the game.
What's that?
You watch all their movies. You still haven't played the game.
I know. That's fine. Right. Now I'm going to go in knowing all this crap.
Oh, I'll know all the meta.
So let's talk about Mercy for a second, because when I see that name, I know I've got plenty of friends who talk about stuff on, whether it's talk about Mercy or something on Facebook or Overwatch in the Discord or something. Like I always see this character pop up.
She's really the primary healer.
She is the healer.
Yeah. No one else plays. Very few people play anything healer-wise but Mercy.
Yeah. Is she just the best, or is it just...
Well, she's the one that you click on someone and it heals them.
Yep.
Like Lucio has an area of effect heal. Zenyatta is similar in a way where he throws an orb to someone and it heals them, but it's not quite the same interaction as Mercy.
Yeah.
And Ana has a sniper rifle that if you shoot the enemy, it hurts them, and if you shoot your people, it heals them.
Oh, that's cool.
But that's a high skill cap for a healer.
I think Mercy's also probably the easiest one to use, and so it's like, especially in matches where you go in and like, oh, somebody should be a healer, and someone who maybe doesn't necessarily do it all the time can hop onto Mercy and be pretty effective.
Yeah.
So
yeah, that's very true.
So let's talk about what they're doing to Mercy.
So Mercy's big ability or ultimate when the game released was her resurrection, which allowed you to resurrect as many teammates that were dead at that moment. So if they team kill you, except for Mercy, whoop, res 5. Now it's back to 6. You have a full team, right? That's a cool power. And I mean, with the spawn times, it's not always that crazy, but it can be a huge shift. It is a huge tempo shift in the game. But what that ultimate encourages is Mercy to kind of hide and wait for her team to die and say, "Hey, team, die." Team dies. Pop a big res. Now it's like 6-on-3.
Everyone's got full health.
That team, that team that just spent so hard getting that team kill just had that taken away from them, right? And yeah, that's part of your ability. A Mercy's there. You should probably target Mercy first. Like, she's usually your first target because you don't want the res, right? But yeah, this doesn't quite encourage you to play the game the way it's supposed to be played, because you shouldn't be hiding. That's not quite what this game's about. So they're going to take that away. Mercy is no longer going to have that same ultimate. She can still res, but that's just one of her normal abilities.
Yeah, it's a secondary ability with a long timer.
So it's a little bit longer timer, and she can only res one
person.
One person at a time.
One person at a time, or one person for the match?
One person at a time. And then
it goes on. I don't know what the cooldown is, if it's 15 seconds
it says
or
it's
something.
long, so...
It's not like that long, but it is.
Yeah.
It's longer than the other typical abilities of all the other heroes. Yep. But you are able to use your ability every once its cooldown is off to res one player. And her new ultimate will be what I believe is called Valkyrie, and she can literally fly.
Does that give a healer any kind of advantage by being able to fly?
Yes, because she can fly all over the map, and that's awesome.
Yeah.
And she
fly
has
into
wings.
Battle, fly out of battle.
Yeah,
like
get a better swoop view in, of battle. get that resurrection, which then her cooldown is going to be quicker. Yeah. So she'll be able to res more frequently in Valkyrie mode. Because Mercy's always had these big wings, but was only ever used them to kind of fly to one of her players.
Yeah,
with
it's
her.
kind of almost like a.
What's that ability called? I can't even remember.
It's almost kind of like a swift movement.
Yeah,
it's not really a fly.
It's like a swoop, like a
swoop, like a Luigi jump.
Yeah,
kind of.
Gotcha.
But in Valkyrie, she can fly around the map. Her cooldowns will be shorter. Her gun is apparently supposed to be a little more better now.
A little more powerful, does a little more damage, shoots a little faster, which is nice because, I mean, that's one of the hard parts of being her as a healer.
She has zero offensive ability, except when you do get an elimination with Mercy and you 1v1 someone, they must feel terrible. But you feel pretty awesome.
It was really hard when we were playing... what was that mode?
Uprising.
I really like? Uprising. Like you had to have a healer, but they also had to be a little bit you had to use them offensively just because there were so many things and people would pop up behind you. And so I'd play Mercy a lot and her gun was not good. So it'll be nice to have a little more power there.
Cool.
Yeah, I think it's good. Good changes. I mean, Overwatch, like I said, they're running Overwatch like almost like a startup. Like it sounds really strange, but that's a big thing in like startup languages. You disrupt things for the sake of disruption. You iterate quickly for the sake of trying new things and finding mistakes. And so it's an interesting thing to watch someone run a video game like you would a startup company.
Yeah. Right. I just think it's so great because every time they do one of these things, like, oh, they're gonna nerf or buff this character, and I'm like. At first thought, you're always like, oh no, what are they going to do? They're going to take Mercy's ult away? And then you're like, oh no, they're real smart. They figured out something better. Yeah. Like every time I'm just like, oh, they're so smart.
I love those guys.
They just get it. Like, and I mean, I assume that's really from actually listening to the feedback they're getting and really thinking through all the ideas of how can you actually make this better rather than just saying, hey, you do more damage. Oh, you do less damage. Because that's the easy way to change abilities. Right. But so maybe it's adding a new ability or changing the way this ability actually functions within the game.
Yeah, not changing the actual what it does, but how it works.
Yeah.
I think it's cool.
That's fun.
So I just look forward to what's next, and I look forward to playing this new Mercy character. So
Well, now is a good time to get into the Overwatch. So
it's always a good time to get into the Overwatch.
When my Xbox gets here, I think I'll do it because it seems like everybody plays on Xbox if they're playing on console. At least most
I
people
play on
we know.
Xbox and PC now.
Yeah,
so.
okay.
I have it on both too.
So, all right, so there's that. And now is
VR?
also a good time to get into the VR.
And should we call VR from now on Ver?
Then we'd have to call PSVR PissVer. I don't think that works.
It doesn't.
The 14-year-old kid, you just went,
It really did. It really did. Yeah.
So the PlayStation VR gets a little cheaper /
a better value.
Yeah,
That's what I'm going to call it.
Yeah, better value. Let's go with that.
Yeah.
Because I was the one who's like, well, if Best Buy has one on the release day, I'll buy it because I need shiny new.
And you got...
I got it. I got the bundle.
So you got the bundle.
Yeah,
so you
$4.99.
So $500 used to get you the camera and 2 Move controllers.
Yes.
Right?
Yeah.
And so...
Camera, new controllers, the headset, and
that was $500?
Was that the World's
Yeah, it was
bundle with
$4.99.
Okay. So that will now...
the game? Did you get the game with it too? The VR
it came
Worlds?
with VR Worlds, yeah.
So that...
which is awesome.
So that bundle actually just got cheaper. That bundle is now $450.
Oh.
So that one actually got cheaper. The base bundle
Doesn't come with Move controllers.
Does not come with
it?
Move controllers. But if you had a PS3, you use the same Move controllers. Although in theory, if you had a PS3, you would already have the camera too, right?
No, because the camera and the Move controllers didn't come with the PS3.
No. But a lot of people bought them for the PS3. Like my buddy has.
I mean, they came out in that generation for that. It just never got used. I mean, I never had Move controllers or a camera
my buddy has
ever.
them. But anyway, the new bundle you can get now includes the headset and the camera, which is theoretically all you need for VR. Like the Move controllers aren't required, but you're probably going to want them for a lot of games.
Yeah.
And that's $400 now. So that used to be, it used to be an extra $50 for that camera. It's kind of a weird. Really, the best deal is if you get the bundle with the Move controllers.
And
save $50.
Yeah, just do that because the Move controllers, I want to say, were like, when they came out anyway, they were like $80 for the pair.
Yeah, they're almost. I mean, retail they're $100.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Oh, wow.
Yeah. So, I mean, it saves you some cash.
Yeah, and the camera, I want to say, is typically 60 or 70?
50, I think.
Is it? Okay.
Yeah. So, I mean, like, if you buy the bundle for $400 and then buy everything on top of it, it's actually like $550, I guess. And so you can save $100 by...
Because, I want to say that if I'd have bought the release, just the headset, and then purchased all the stuff additionally, it would have been like $550 or $600.
Yeah. Honestly, this is kind of a weird bundle. Like, the more I think about it, like putting the camera in it really doesn't... I can't imagine anyone would have the Move controllers and not have...
The cool thing is you don't have to have the Move controllers at all. Like, you can straight up use...
How often do you use yours? The Move controllers. I mean, I'm just wondering because for the Oculus, like you use the Move controllers on nearly everything.
Yeah, you could. I used it for Resident Evil. Was that 7, 8?
No, you didn't.
I didn't.
When we played with you, you just used the controller.
Oh well, I used the Move controllers after that.
Oh, all right.
Yeah, so there's that. And I used it for the VR Worlds. There's a thing called London Heist, which is such a cool little thing. So I used it for that. I want to say for Robinson Lost.
So you definitely
Journey,
do. It's probably best to have them then. Yeah. So I guess the moral of the story here is if you're going to buy a PSVR, buy the $450 bundle. Yeah. It comes with the camera and the Move controllers and the VR Worlds. And that's just like kind of a lot of demo-y stuff, right?
Yeah. There's a game I want to say that was done by one of the kids from Pig Squad or one of the people in that community down there called Headshot.
Good stuff.
And it's basically what it is you use your head as the controller. And what you're doing is a soccer ball gets thrown at you, and you have to bonk.
Oh, that's fun.
You have to move your head and hit the ball at a target or into a net or over this thing or whatever, and it's surprisingly accurate.
That's fun.
It's a lot of fun.
That's a lot of fun.
So that was cool.
So,
and if I'd have known it was going to get cheaper, I would have just gone with the Vive.
Yeah,
I really would have because the Vive is the thing.
Vive is still expensive. Like, I mean, so they dropped it $200, so it's still $600,
right?
Which means that it's $200, and that's just a price cut. I mean, it's $200 off
now.
Which makes it still $200 more than the Oculus.
Yeah.
And I've used both.
Is there a difference enough to make that
there's
$200
not
worth
a
it?
$200 difference?
Okay.
From what I've played, the nice thing you do get with the Vive is Vive has a subscription service called something that I don't remember.
monthly.
Sure. Yeah. And it's like $7 and you get, I think like every month you can check out like library style. Well, it's like 3.
Or is it more?
I don't
Yeah.
remember exactly. Like
I remember it being a good deal, though.
Yeah, it's definitely a good deal. And so especially for a system where a lot of the things you're doing are kind of experiences or short games, like having a rental service that kind of goes along with that probably is helpful.
Yeah.
I do know that the thing is I would actually be really interested in seeing if I could, like, there are actually softwares you can run that'll let your Vive games run on your Oculus and vice versa. And so I'd actually be interested to see if I could actually subscribe to that and use them on my Oculus. So,
Gotcha.
I don't know if I would pay an extra $200 for the Vive. It's great. It's comfortable, but the Oculus is great too. One thing that I think is really interesting about Vive right now is there are actually huge rumors that HTC is actually looking to sell Vive.
Yeah, sell that business side off. I don't know why. Like, I was talking to somebody the other day. It's like with their HTC U11 phone that just came out, fantastic phone, fantastic. They tied it to just Sprint.
That's so weird.
Why?
Yeah.
Really?
Yeah.
So it's like now you've
Because
got
you want to sell less of
Sprint
them.
gave them
Right.
a lot of money.
Well, yeah, but still, now you've got this fantastic VR system that is easily winning in critically, it's winning.
Yeah, and they've sold more Vives than they have
have they?
Oculuses, I
So
believe. Although
you've got
that's
a
before
winning-
they drop prices.
Yeah, but you've got a winning VR setup.
Yeah, and
that-
now they want to sell it.
And now you want to sell it off. I mean, I know you're trying to get out from underwater here, but why not hang on to something?
Yeah,
that's
I've got to
gonna make you
assume
money?
that either it's just not making as much money as they want,
Or they just need cash
They just
ASAP.
need the cash ASAP. I don't know. Palmer Luckey, the guy who actually founded Oculus, was actually and then left Oculus after people found out he was a terrible human. Actually, was joking the other day that maybe he'd buy Vive.
God.
So I can't imagine. Like, the dude's a billionaire, but I don't know if he's.
Right.
I don't know if that's enough to get to buy Vive. So we'll see. I don't know.
Well,
It's
if you're looking for the VR, I can tell you, I love my PlayStation VR. It's fun. You like your Oculus,
but they're night and day. Like,
yeah.
If you've got a high end PC and you're thinking like, should I get PSVR or should I get an Oculus or a Vive?
Go
Get an
Oculus.
Oculus or a Vive.
Yeah.
They're like double the resolution.
Yeah.
They're super fun. Like it's one of those things that I can't. If you've never played VR, I can't explain to you how cool VR is because you have to experience it. You have to have that feeling of I'm in another world and I can't explain why someone, like literally it's such a weird thing. I was playing this game that the developers on this kind of game show game. I don't remember what it's called offhand. It's got a really long title, but I was in VR and my VR was configured incorrectly. And so I was kind of moving into this environment and there was this big floating island and the island started to like come at my chest. And you instinctively are like moving backwards. I'm like, it's obviously not real,
Right.
but it feels really real.
It
Anytime
tricks
you
your
see
brain.
those people that are, falling over in VR or jumping back from something in VR or something, it's not because they're dumb. It's not because, they're chickens. It's not any of that stuff. It's because when you are in it, it feels like real life.
Yeah, your brain actually.
It's crazy. Real life. Exactly.
Or is it just fantasy?
Do I have to start singing now?
No.
Okay. Yeah.
Anyway, now's a really good time to get into the VR.
Do it.
Yeah, everything's dropping in price, and there's a lot of great content that's starting to really
Phenomenal stuff.
come out. All right, so moving on to people leaving bad reviews for Dota 2. Why? Because they want Half-Life 3.
Yeah, so we actually
Of
talked.
which I've never played either one. I've seen Dota 2, don't know what Half-Life is.
Wow.
I know.
I played a little bit of Half-Life and I didn't really care for it. But
So I'm looking for new people to podcast with. I will just, if you want to send in an application to bite me at bitemepodcast.com, it would be helpful if you live in the Seattle area, but I'm willing to do this via Skype or something if we have to.
And it's going to be really funny because next week you're going to be on your own with somebody via Skype or on the phone. They're going to be like, oh shit, he replaced them. Where'd they go?
Anyway.
and that's a tease.
We were talking about this the other day where, which developer was it?
It was Grand Theft Auto.
Yeah, GTA
when they did their
shut
no
down.
modder thing.
Yeah, and people started leaving bad reviews for Grand Theft
come
Auto.
on.
And I was I could like play devil's advocate on both sides of that, where you're like, that is literally one game making a decision and people are leaving bad reviews for that game because of that decision.
Right.
And that decision could affect your experience in that game. So like, it's kind of a dumb thing to do. But at the same time, like I understood.
It got their attention.
I understood,
It made-
They got
so
their
it's like-
attention. It fixed the problem. And this is the complete opposite of that. It's just dumb. And so literally what we're talking about here is like Dota 2, arguably one of the biggest games in existence right now. Like more people, until PUBG came along, more people played this game on Steam than any other game on Steam. Like concurrent players for this is usually in the,
upper hundreds of
800
thousands
to 1 million people at a time playing this game. And, they just released a new collectible card game based in the Dota universe. This game is huge. And so a bunch of people are like, well, obviously Valve is spending too much time worrying about Dota and not enough time worrying about Half-Life 3. And so we're going to give Dota bad reviews. And that is absolutely insane.
So here's my question, though. So GTA 5, Dota 2, these games are so massive and have got such a far reach into pop culture.
Yep.
At this point, is leaving a bad review or giving it a mostly negative, overall reviews on Steam or on whatever, Metacritic or whatever.
Yeah.
When these games are so far-reaching, does it really affect them?
GTA, enough people did it that it actually...
But did it affect their sales? Because they still sold number one.
Yeah.
Or whatever. They were still one of the top five.
Like last month they were number 2, 3, or 4.
Well, it's like no one's going to look at that and be like, oh, this game is bad. Everyone knows it's good.
But I think what it does is it makes news. It makes news articles.
Yeah.
And I mean, apparently not. Dota has so many reviews that it hasn't even affected their score yet. But I mean, it took enough people did it for Grand Theft Auto that they went from mostly positive to I think a neutral.
Negative.
I don't know if
it made mostly negative.
And so what it does is sends a message.
Yeah.
So I mean, I guess the question is if you think that signing a MoveOn.org petition is super impactful, then leaving negative reviews for Dota 2 is probably for you.
That's fair.
Yeah.
That is very fair.
But I think really more it's just like people don't understand how video game development works. If you're pissed at Valve not making Half-Life 3 because they made Dota, really what you should probably do is man, I hate Steam because the money that they print every single day because of Steam vastly outweighs the money they're making, giving Dota away for free.
Yes.
But I think the thing is the question you have to ask yourself too is, yeah, you probably want a Half-Life 3, but really you wanted a Half-Life 3 or a Half-Life Episode 3, Half-Life 2 Episode 3 years ago.
Yeah, at this point in time, just let it go.
At this point in time, as much as I want that world to exist, I'm a huge Half-Life fan, opposed to these two jokers. It's a phenomenal game, both of them. And but it's been hyped up for so long that I can't imagine they could make a game that would meet anyone's expectation.
Right.
You think that game's going to be a 10, but that game would probably be a 7, not because it wouldn't be good, but just because you've spent 10 years imagining what Half-Life 3 would be, I mean, and what made Half-Life 1 and Half-Life 2 special was they were super innovative at the time and brought really cool gameplay mechanics or really cool physics or really cool, whatever. And there's a million other games doing cool things now. So
that's why I just don't care for it that much because I
I
didn't play it at the right time.
That's the problem. That game.
I'm not saying I don't like Half-Life.
You played it at the wrong time. That game came out forever
wasn't a
ago.
PC gamer, so I never played it, and I got it on the orange box on Xbox when that came out. But I mean,
the reality is that game came out. Oh man, that was the best deal in video games ever.
You paid $20, and you got Portal, you got Team Fortress 2, you got Half-Life 2.
Yeah, I remember that.
I mean, the reality is Half-Life 2 came out 13 years ago. That's a million years.
I was 12.
Yeah. Right.
I wasn't really concerned with your. I wasn't really concerned with your physics video games.
Yeah.
I want to blow stuff up.
So good.
Well,
I was probably playing baseball.
I was playing baseball.
Well, it's not the week for Dota, evidently.
Yeah.
Dota 2, anyway, because aside from the bad reviews, they finally got knocked out of the first place slot for concurrent users on Steam by PlayerUnknown's Battlegrounds.
By a game that's not even out yet.
I know. How awesome is that? 877,844 concurrent players on Steam.
Absolutely crazy.
Beating Dota 2.
It's the very first time this has ever happened.
I was one of them.
Yeah, we're a third-party game. Probably not at that exact time.
I'm pretty sure because I played it every night this week and last week.
That was a Sunday morning. So yeah.
Well, crap.
But yeah, I mean, it's the very first time that a third-party game has ever knocked a Valve-made game off the Steam charts.
Right. And it's a third-party game that's based on, if I'm not wrong, wasn't King of the Kill or whatever, wasn't that kind of a mod for H1Z1, or is that how it just came out?
Yeah, I think so. I'm a little foggy on the
like I want to say it was a
I
mod.
kind of want to read up on the history of this.
Like we need to do some genealogy on.
Because I
got
saw
a lot of friends in Utah. I'm sure there's someone who could pick that up.
I
for
knew
me.
a bunch of people that were playing H1Z1, and then all of a sudden it was PUBG.
Yeah.
I was like, I want to know what happened,
that game,
and
Well, because I want to say H1Z1 started off as a zombie game. Or it started off as some kind of a horde.
Yeah, it's a survival horror.
Survival thing.
Yeah.
And then, like, I think, from what I know, PlayerUnknown did the mod for H1Z1 into this battle royale thing that kind of removed whatever there was originally and just made it a PvP thing.
I'm not 100% sure. And I know there was like another guy who was involved in it. Like PlayerUnknown kind of got his name on the box.
Right.
But there's another guy who did some development for other stuff that was looking for someone to make a game like this as well, and they kind of got together.
And then they
I don't know.
made PUBG.
There's some backstory, and I'm not. I wish I was more familiar with it, but it's not.
tune in 2 weeks
Yeah,
where we fill you in on the history of PUBG.
I'm not sure anyone cares.
And the battle royale.
I'm looking at the Wikipedia right now. It appears to have all the information in it. So go read PUBG's Wikipedia. That's the way to do it. But I mean, it's just crazy. I mean, they've sold 8 million copies of that game. Like 8 million.
8 million of PUBG?
In early access.
Holy crap.
And it was 6 million, I swear to God, 3 weeks ago.
Yeah.
Because
I want to say we talked about it. When we first started talking about it, it sold 2 or 3 million.
Yeah.
And then it was up to 5 million.
Yeah. It hit 6, and now it's
That's
at 8.
insane.
They announced 8 at Gamescom.
Isn't it stupid too? Like, this is the simplest game ever.
Oh, it is.
Too. Like, it's so
brilliant.
funny
It's
to
simple,
me. Like,
but programming-wise, it's got to be pretty difficult to pull something like this one
I don't
off.
really think so.
Not really.
Yeah.
I can't imagine.
I mean, it's a pretty limited map. It's
I mean, obviously, there's a lot of room to make a
interaction.
mistake, and this is putting a lot of people in a map. But other than that, it's
But like, that
simple.
map is a legit 3.5 mile by 3.5 mile size.
But I mean, think about how
island.
big Skyrim is. Think about how big, Breath of the Wild is.
I don't want to take anything away from it.
No,
it's awesome.
no.
Like,
It's
great
an amazing
job,
game,
but
and it's just right place, right time.
Yeah.
But it's, I mean, checkers isn't complicated either.
No,
so
it's a multiplayer game where you don't have to talk to
anyone.
anyone. Like,
Unless you're doing squad stuff.
Yeah,
Have you done the first person?
Yeah,
you played it.
yeah.
Is that what you prefer?
Yes and no. I mean, I enjoy the game either way.
Right. I think it's more fun for me in third person just because I feel like I suck at first person stuff to begin with. So I feel like in that third person, I've got a little bit more of a edge or a little more of an advantage that works in my favor because of being able to see over
I was
stuff.
watching. I was
hides
watching
your
Adam do that last
shortcomings.
night, where he's like scrolling up so he could see over his head. I'm like, that's kind of tricky.
Yeah, but I mean, everyone can do it, so it doesn't matter.
No,
but
it's just a fun game though. Like I said, it hit right place, right time, and everyone loves it. And I mean, coming out on the Xbox. Early access end of this year sometime, full release next year, and it's not exclusive to the Xbox. Like they've been very careful to say that in terms that make it sound like it's exclusive to the Xbox, but probably not.
Right.
It's a console exclusive to the Xbox for a while. So PS4 players are going to get it.
And
sometime.
I'm crossing my fingers that between this and Destiny 2, I'm crossing my fingers that between this and Destiny 2, we'll finally get crossplay
I
of
know.
some kind.
I actually read an interview with Mikey Barra yesterday.
that
He's
too.
like the kind of second in command at Xbox, and he's like, it's something we are pushing harder than anything we've pushed before. And he says it's not that we don't, believe in, the Xbox. It's not that anything. It's that we want people to be able to play more games. He says the bigger player base is for any of the games,
everybody
wins. If all of a sudden you can double the player base of Destiny, if you can double the player base of PUBG, if you can double the player of Rocket League, with all these people to play together, it means games die slower.
Well, yeah, but to even further that, though, it's not just that everybody wins. It's like that. Well, yeah, it's everybody wins because also the hardware companies, they're going to have to work harder to make better hardware and hardware that keeps up with what we want. It
distinguishes them from other people.
Innovate even more.
Yeah.
And who cares if it's distinguishable even?
Yeah.
Like, it's just like,
faster,
just
better,
make
more.
good stuff.
Yeah. And I think really we're at a very dangerous place in time right now with games because
That's scary to hear.
But when you think about it, a game, what was the For Honor, right? Mm-hmm. For Honor was a huge game that came out, and Ubisoft spent millions of dollars making that game, right? And it's effectively dead 6 months later. And it's because it doesn't have a player base. It's a game that really only exists online, and that this time next year could just be gone. They shut down the servers, they shut down, and it's just gone. And that game's literally gone forever.
$500 bundle.
Yeah. And how many games are like that right now? Like Destiny's servers go away, Destiny dies. If
Survival of the fittest.
Rocket League servers go away, Rocket League dies. And so as gamers, it is better for us the more people that can play that game at the same time. And so if you've got 5,000 people playing For Honor on Xbox and 5,000 people playing For Honor on PS4,
that's not enough for
and
each,
they lose
each single
50%
system.
of their stuff. There's still 5,000 people playing if we bring those together.
Yeah.
So it makes so much sense for software manufacturers to have crossplay. And I think everyone wants it except
Sony.
For Sony, unfortunately. So
Turds.
it's just a matter of making that happen. And I think it's going to happen in the next 6 months to a year. There's too much momentum behind it. People are starting to realize how powerful it is.
And it'd be easier to swallow too if like an Xbox and a PlayStation weren't like the same thing.
Yeah.
It's like they've been the same thing for so long.
Just literally a different controller.
Well, and like the difference between a 360 and a PS3 were huge.
Yeah.
Like there were
Really?
huge. Yeah, fundamentally hardware wise, the PS3 used a cell processor that was really strange. It was completely different than the Xbox 360, which was just a PC. But now they're all x86 based systems. They're literally just computers in a different box.
Yeah, but they've been playing the same games, the same generation
forever.
of games for so long. It's like there's no reason. Like if you're gonna do something crazy and different, then fine.
Yep.
But then you're not. I mean, then you're cutting those games out because
Then you're Nintendo.
Then you're Nintendo, exactly. But then you don't have an excuse. So there's no reason you can have two games on a separate thing and you shouldn't
It's
be able to
got to
play them
happen.
together.
And what it's going to take probably, like right now, like, when you read about companies really pushing this, it's Psyonix. It's the folks that make Rocket League. And they're just not big enough to push it.
Yeah.
It's going to take an Activision or an EA or a Blizzard or a, someone like that to say, like, hey, guys, you need to sit down and make this happen. And I think we're really close. Or Ubisoft. I mean, the reality is if, it behooves any of those software manufacturers to do it. So I think you're going to start seeing real push from the bottom up, and they're just not going to have any choice.
I agree.
Or they're going to die.
Yeah.
Well, they have our support.
Yep, definitely.
Cool. So before we go on to our questions, I said that I've got the PlayStation Now membership.
Yeah.
So I bought the 12-month membership for $99 because that comes out to what? $8 a month or $7 a month, something like that.
Way too early for math.
Well, still.
Yeah.
You're right on the money, Adam.
Roughly. So I was playing God of War Ascension last night on my PC with an Xbox controller. How wackadoodle is that?
That's crossplay.
Right, exactly. So, but the one thing I'll tell you can't use the motion controls in the Xbox controller.
Sure.
But that's fine. I think motion controls are kind of stupid.
Most of the time.
So I had a
Agreed.
thought while I was playing it. Because I'm going to be an Xbox owner soon. Am I going to do the Games Pass for $10 a month?
Sure.
Because that's a great deal.
Yep.
And then I've got the Sony PlayStation Now, which is effectively less than $10 a month,
Right.
which has a ton of PS3 games
A couple PS4 games.
and some new PS4 games. And I was trying to decide what the better value is. And what do you think would be, I guess this kind of goes into our next question.
Ugh.
What do you think would end up being the better value on that? Something that costs $10 a month that you can install and then eventually lose and then have the option to buy, or something that you stream from the cloud that you always have that never goes away for less than what you would pay?
I think that it's going to really depend on what Sony does with PS4 titles.
Okay.
To me, the downside of PlayStation Now is that you do have to have a strong internet connection. It's entirely based on, being able to stream something.
Right.
And when your internet dies,
you're screwed.
Right. Which is why you don't only have
Yeah.
the PlayStation service.
But I mean, if you're going, if you're trying to compare apples to apples, you do have to say,
Yeah.
internet is a factor of that. Right now, PS Now isn't super exciting to me because there's just not enough new stuff.
Right.
But there's some really fun old stuff too.
Oh, yeah.
great legacy content, but not.
And I think it would also kind of depend. Like that $100 deal is not an always thing. I don't believe. I think they've.
It wasn't.
And now it
went
is.
away. And then I
is
was
it
like,
back
well, I'm not.
permanently now, or is it?
I want to say.
I got the impression that was kind of a sometimes thing. Like it's a deal you can get, but isn't necessarily a deal you can always get.
Right. Well, and the thing is with that deal that's kind of there maybe all the time, we're not sure. There's also been a lot of talk, rumor mill, about them bundling PlayStation Now
into PS Plus.
Yeah. So that you would pay that $60,
and that's kind of where
a year.
I was getting into.
Yeah,
and
if it ends up being a part of that, then I think that would be an absolute killer.
Yeah, I agree. And the thing I like about Games Pass with Xbox is that I think the games are a little more current. They are using it as kind of a pushing point for like first party Microsoft games. Like, you've seen a lot of the kind of, like Halo 5's in there. The game's real new. I do like that they're just downloadable. They're always on your system. And that you do get a discount if you want to purchase them. So if you really get into Halo 5 multiplayer, you want to make sure you don't lose that. You can buy it at a discount. And I do like that Phil Spencer's actually talked a lot about using Games Pass kind of like Netflix uses Netflix now, where they're going to start, he can see it as a vehicle for original content that's interesting, where you might be able to do games in a kind of a, hey, part 1 comes out this month, part 2 comes out next month, part 3 comes out.
It'd be a great
serialized things.
Great for Telltale games.
Yeah, perfect for Telltale games. I think both of these, to me, have a huge potential. One thing I will say in PS Now's favor is I don't know if I'd be willing to put a huge amount of money on it, but I would not be shocked if the way we play video games 5 or 10 years from now is a similar PS Now like service. Yeah. Like PS Now does it great. I've used the GeForce Now or GeForce, whatever it's called, whatever, and they work great. And I wonder if at some point in the very, very near future, as hardware costs on like the server side of things comes down and bandwidth goes up, and bandwidth, you get more bandwidth for less price. Data caps become less of a problem, that kind of thing. Thank God. Is if we're just going to buy a relatively dumb box that doesn't have a lot in it and just lets you stream everything you need from the cloud. It gets rid of incompatibilities. It makes hardware matter less. It means that you won't have to be chasing the biggest, fastest, newest.
Games can live forever.
Games can live forever. They'd always be compatible. I think that might be the future of things.
That'd be cool. We'll see. I was just curious to get your take, because I was just really, really impressed that I was playing God of War on a PC with an Xbox controller.
It's weird.
It's so wacky.
That was what I played. I was playing Rocket League at, pretty high resolution with an Xbox controller on my Mac that can't run crap. This Mac's like, a quarter-inch thick. It doesn't run anything, trust me. It's a weird place. So cool. I think that's the future, is that streaming kind of stuff. And I love Games Pass, but I think what I really hope is that you're right, is that both of them just get, I would pay $100 for PS Plus or $100 for Xbox Live if they just bundle all that crap together.
Yeah.
That would be,
we'll see.
That's what I'm hoping for.
Yeah.
That's what I'm hoping for.
I think that's a smart route.
I think the thing is though, like, I don't know if you were or Dylan said it earlier, is that they're going to have to start distinguishing themselves, and that's the way you're going to start distinguishing yourselves.
Yeah, and I think it's just interesting that they both have these online services now that are subscription services for games.
Yep.
One, you download this stuff, and the other, you stream it.
Yep.
Like,
we'll see.
Yeah, like I just want to say I think Sony's got the upper hand on that, just because I think streaming is going to be how it is, and I think the downloading and installing, while it's better, I guess, for lag or whatever, and running into that idea.
It's literally in the name.
The thing you've got to think about is, like, we're very lucky to live in an area that has relatively stable, high-speed internet all the time. There are a lot of parts of the United States that don't.
Correct.
So,
well, yeah, but it's literally in the name, PlayStation Now. You get to play the game now, not after you install, which is, that's the difference, right? Is like, what are you actually feeling at that moment? I want to play this game. Oh, no, I want to play this game now. Whereas Xbox, like, by the time you install, you're like, well, no, I want to play this other game. So
then you have to download
then you have hard drive space. So, there's advantages.
Yeah,
but
there's advantages both ways, and I think it's just going to be
it's interesting.
I think it'll almost come down to pricing and games.
Yeah. Okay, cool. I was just curious.
Yeah.
Sweet. So after that question, we go into the rest of our set of questions, and the first one comes from... Who's the first one from?
I'm out of water. Hey, yo, Vinny, where's my water?
Is Vinny your water boy now?
Well, if you don't got no water, what's your question?
You need a bigger water cup like mine. It's huge.
I got this little water cup today because I forgot my water bottle.
There's no ice, though.
I drank it all when I was in bed.
I know, there's no
morning,
ice in our fridge at work.
And I left
freezer.
it.
It's like I'm living in some sort of weird third world country.
I'm not done.
Well, okay, you're done. I'm going to call it
Don't call me done.
I'll call
you Adam.
Vinny asks us, what is your favorite game in the genre that appeals to you the least? Or at least a genre you typically wouldn't play. Okay, I read this wrong initially. So what is our favorite game in the genre that appeals the least?
For me, it's Rocket League. Sports games are dumb, but I love Rocket League.
Yeah.
So,
Okay.
although I've been playing some FIFA 17, that's real fun.
Oh, because you're a soccer guy.
Yeah.
You're a football.
Football.
Guy. Is that and sports is your least appealing?
Yeah.
Okay. You?
Yeah. I kind of take the same route. Sports or fighting games, kind of. I love fighting games bad, so that's why it appeals to me. Is because it's just I'm not going to put in the time to be a master fighter game. So I like Injustice a lot.
Yeah, Virtua Fighter 2
game.
is my favorite
that was
fighting
a lot
game,
of
and
fun.
I don't like fighting games.
And as for sports games, as much as I don't really like the genre, I really do enjoy playing Madden and NBA 2K, whatever the year, and I guess I can throw wrestling in there. Yeah. The wrestling games are fun.
I'm really excited. This sounds dumb, and I'm going to try and do it on my EA Pass because I hear it's not very long. But Madden 18 has a story mode now, and I'm really interested in that. You start out as a high school kid and work your way into the NFL.
And you go to a strip club when you're your number one draft, and you
blow it all.
Yeah,
on,
you blow it on. Hookers and strippers, and then all of a sudden, you've got a baby mama.
No one wants to sign you.
Yeah.
I don't think that's how it goes, but
that sounds fun.
Madden's a role-playing game. I'd play that.
And then you have a
Madden RPG.
Someone should
marry
make that.
Sierra.
John Madden RPG would be great.
I love it.
But I those games are fun though.
Yeah.
I enjoy a sports game as much as it doesn't really. I don't really like buying them. But
I don't. And I don't like sports games.
Yeah,
I don't. And the only game that I can remember in sports that is a real sports game that I actually remember going, oh, that's fun, was Blades of Steel.
Oh yeah,
on the Nintendo Entertainment System.
Yep.
It was
hockey.
This top-down hockey game, Blades of Steel, with that weird gravelly 8-bit voice.
I swear that's
awesome.
how every game started back then. It was say the name of the game.
Yeah, and some weird janky.
Yep.
Yeah, but I remember that. I remember I was at my dad's coworker. I was at my dad's coworker's barbecue or housewarming or barbecue or something. Anyway, it had just come out, and I was a master at Blades of Steel. I just kicked all kinds of ass up and down that ice, and I sat down and played with this dude's kid, and he ended. I just whooped him.
You made him cry, didn't you, Adam?
I can't remember if he cried.
Say uncle.
Or if he hit me. Or if he threw the controller at me and went and told on me.
That's amazing.
But I think I was 8 years old. 9 years old. And this kid's running and tattling on me because I beat him at a game.
Love it.
Yeah, we never got invited back over.
It's the last time it happened.
That's fine. He was a turd. But yeah, so there's that. Does that answer your question?
I think it does.
Yeah. Blades of Steel.
Yeah, roughly. Up next, a question from Josh.
That was the crowd noise.
Josh says survival games have become an evolving part of gaming with vast open worlds and unique mechanics. If you could choose any game to play a survival style game, what would it be and why? Oh,
that's good. That's good.
That's really good.
The answer for me is none of them, because as soon as a game adds survival mechanics, I'm out.
Oh, really?
Yeah. Every once in a while, Fallout 4 released. I really liked Fallout 4, and one of the patches they released was play it as a survival game. You've got to eat and sleep, and so I'm like, nope, done.
Yeah. See, I guess I've never played a true survival game. Is that what it is? You have to craft and sleep and eat and all these things.
Yeah, and
I do that, and I struggle enough to keep myself alive.
Yeah.
I'm not going to do that for a video game character.
Video games are supposed to let me do something else than the normal things I have to do to survive.
Yeah,
so.
it's not any survival games. First of all, just not kind of. I think they're very interesting because I love I've often thought about getting into Ark because I just hear great things about the kind of the open world and the content that kind of creates itself. And I actually listened to another podcast where we were talking about Ark with super role-playing servers where you actually you aren't just playing that game, you role-play as that character, and that's been a lot of fun when I've done it in some of the MMOs I've played and stuff. I played in a role-playing guild in Star Wars Galaxies, and that was really cool. And I like that idea, but I just don't like the mechanics of it. But the funny thing is I really like watching people play that. I've been watching a streamer play Perfect Dark, and that's super fun, but I don't have any urge to do it myself. So, and anytime a role-playing game has that mechanic, I'm out. It's not my thing.
I don't like survival games. I've never played one, I guess.
Yeah.
Is Conan?
Yeah, Conan's one.
Is it really?
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
Yep. Yeah, that just, and the whole idea is, you just have to, you have to build your shelter, you have to get your food, you have to sleep, you have to not get killed. Not my thing.
Breath of the Wild it was pretty survival-y. The
you
fact
have
that
to eat, stay alive,
but there's elements
survival.
you
Yeah,
have to be warm when it's cold. You have to.
That's true.
stay cold when it's hot.
And I guess maybe when I really look at it,
it's a light survival game.
The things I
that's
liked
just a matter
least about Breath of the Wild were the survival elements of it.
Yeah,
so.
like that's what I didn't like about the game at
equipping
all.
the right armor for the environment you're in.
Yeah,
yeah. I mean that
it's a survival.
It's a light. I'm not going to say it's a hardcore survival game, but it is a light survival.
I never
game.
had to do that in Skyrim. I could run around in my loincloth and whatever. So not my thing.
Shit talkers.
Yeah, it's all right.
I think Mario survival would be fun though. I think putting Mario in every genre is usually the answer to this question. But like, I'm just thinking like Mario survival.
That's how usually I'm like, Skyrim. Skyrim's a great thing to put into any genre except this one.
Yeah.
So.
Well, see, I'm like. Isn't basically every game a survival game? Like, you're trying not to die.
Yeah, but there's a difference between not trying not to die because some dude hits you with a sword.
Life simulator.
Yeah, there's a difference between getting hit with a sword and starving to death slowly.
Yeah, and I guess it also comes down to like how. I mean, I'm gonna rag on Breath of the Wild again, but like how easy it is to make surviving possible. Like how irritated I am when I have to like cook elixirs and make potions and things in that game. Like it's so time consuming. Like it's not easy to do.
I think the funny thing is too is like there are games that I love doing that. Like Skyrim, I made potions and sword. I love having subclasses in a game where you're like, oh yeah, I'm an armorer now.
Yeah,
I don't know why. Like I have no idea what the difference is.
Well, I liked repairing weapons in that game because it was easy. I just clicked on it.
Yeah,
but like I don't want to have to like put 3 ingredients in my hands and then like put it in the pot and hopefully don't miss.
I agree. I thought making
to
things
make one potion,
really
but I
awkward.
have like 400 ingredients in my backpack
and
like,
just put them all together.
How can I just like see what I can make and just go
click a recipe,
make all of these?
Okay, now
like,
that I'm into.
Yeah,
I think that would be great.
Because it's just I don't want to hold 3 items and then miss the cauldron
I did that
and
a lot
then pick them all up and do it again.
Yeah,
like that's really frustrating.
Awkward. I agree.
Whereas a game like I think Dying Light does it where you're crafting like weapon the traps and things. And it says like you have these parts, you can make this or this or this. You have all the parts. This is the parts you're missing for these things. What would you like to craft? And I'm like, I would love to craft these things. Okay, it's done.
Dying Light's a ton of fun to watch. Like I don't want to play it at all, but it's really interesting to watch.
Yeah, so making survival mechanics easy and less survival-y.
Yeah.
Like, I understand I could really drop my food on the ground, but I'm not going to in that situation, so please don't let me.
Yep,
so final answer, Mario
survival. Mario survival would be great.
I don't want to play anything survival game.
It's like Mario in the desert would be great.
Slowly crawling across the sand, trying to get to that mushroom. Turns out it's an oasis. He can't see
his overalls are like thrown down, and
there's no legs on him anymore.
Like wrapped around his head to keep him cool. And
love it.
He's rescuing Peach from dehydration.
There you go.
Right. Thanks, Josh, for that. Sorry. I guess we're not the right people to ask some of that question. Anyway, Colby asks, "What's your most hell yeah moment in video games?" See how I censored it?
Oh, that was very nice.
Do you want me to?
No, it's all right.
He thinks that's a positive. Oh, hell yeah.
Yeah, it's good. Good.
Yeah. So, what was there a moment in any video game that made you go, "Hell yeah, that was amazing"?
You know, I actually played. Colby's my brother, so we actually played. Dude, what's that game called? Army of Two? Yeah. And that had a lot of, that was a real bro-y game. Co-op, it was extra bro-y. Army of Two.
Oh, yeah,
you were mercenaries, I don't know, shooting a lot of things. That was a very I can't believe we pulled that off. Nidhogg for me lately has been that game because you'll do these just crazy, throw a sword across the screen, especially with the boomerang on, and you dodge it, and then it would come back and hit the guy in the face, and then you could slide through them or, stomp their head open. I think a lot of action-y games kind of lend themselves to that. We've had a lot of Destiny moments where you're almost all dead, and someone does I play as a hunter, and I love the last second knife throw that you chuck a knife at someone and kill them as they almost kill you. So I think that's something. I think overall video games do a really good job of, or maybe the hallmark of a good video game is when you almost die but don't and feel that oh yeah, I'm super powerful and awesome, even though maybe you actually aren't. So I think it's a hallmark of a good game to have those moments.
Yeah. So one that comes to mind of recent was last night when I was playing God of War Ascension.
Yeah.
Because you've played God of War 3, and that opening sequence is just epically on this massive scale. I'd never played anything that made me feel that small but so powerful at the same time.
Yeah.
The opening scene of God of War Ascension makes that look like child's play.
Nice.
I'd never the whole time I was sitting there last night going,
I wish you could see him, but Adam's looking very confused with his mouth open. I think that's good.
It was mind-boggling. It was so cool. And like Kevin was watching The Defenders Hall or whatever on Netflix, and I was playing this. I'm just over in the corner of the dark office area looking at my computer screen, just being blown away because it was such a massive, like you're fighting these things called the Furies, which are, again, some Greek mythos thing. And it was just, if you've never played it, check it out, because I love those button mashy kind of things anyway. But it was fun.
Dylan?
And for you, sir?
Well, lately it's definitely been eating chicken for dinner. Like, winning a game of PUBG
it's huge.
Is, like, I haven't been that excited in a video game because it's so...
1 out of 100, baby.
Like, is hard to get there, and, like, it takes patience. It takes a little bit of everything to get there, and especially when you're working with a team and you all survive to the end, like, that is
How many times
cool.
have you done that? Like, of your 3, how many times have your entire team lived?
I think both times.
Nice.
Like, I got downed right at the end, but of one of them, but I was there.
My dead body was there.
My body was right there as they won.
Good enough.
And I got the final kill of one of them.
Nice.
So, that was, like, just being like, you take that final shot and it just says, boom, you won. And you're like,
Listen, I think, to me, like, video games that can give you that feeling, you know, and not all games do that. Like, I mean, like, I did not feel that way playing Edith Finch. It's a different, you know, I mean, like, but games that can give you any emotion, I think, are great. You know, whether that emotion is, you know, wow, this is sad, or like, I can't believe I pulled that off. Like, those are both, you know, very valuable. A game that can make you feel that way. Like,
I can't wait to get my chicken dinner.
Yeah, right? Yeah. But I mean, I think that's the thing that I wasn't experiencing with Agents of Mayhem. Like, that's the difference. Is that game was just kind of like, oh, I guess this mission's over. All right, all right. You know, I think you've got to have that thing that makes you want to do the next thing.
Yeah, especially when you're doing it with 3 of your buddies.
It's
like,
huge.
and through this whole game, you're like telling people we got all this extra stuff in your house, and you're trying to figure out how to get everybody the equipment they need, and then you're telling people, you see someone on this side of the hill, and everyone's guarding the other side of the hill, and you're like, they're coming in from the west, or you're calling out the coordinates on the map, and you're just trying to, I mean, work through that to solve that problem together.
Cool. And then
all of a sudden you're in the last firefight, and it's so tense.
That's
and
awesome.
Then all of a sudden it's over,
Love
and you're the guys that are alive. And
Nice.
it's like,
Very nice.
Like, let's do that again tomorrow, because we're not going to do it again right now.
I like watching the squads. They'll run through a PUBG. They'll win, and they're like, oh, we can't end on that. We got to go again.
No.
It's like, we just killed it. We got to do it again.
That's awesome.
So it's like,
that's like my rule now, I think, is like, we win, because we kept playing afterwards both times, and we just garbage like the next time. It's like, no, just go play a different game. We'll do this again tomorrow.
Love it. We got to play. We got to play. All right, John Crawdad asks us, what is the best music you have heard in a video game?
Abzu.
Yeah, Abzu's good.
I think it kind of depends on what, like, video game music is so diverse.
Yeah, especially now.
That it kind of depends on what mood I'm in. Like, Abzu is almost always, but Abzu is a very, like, ethereal, like, you know, that's music.
You still haven't played Journey.
I've not played Journey, but I listen to Journey all the time. Yeah, honestly, anything by Austin Wintory is my answer. I love everything that guy's done. His stuff's great. But, like, if I'm in a really, like, pumped up, want to do something mood, like the Doom soundtrack, it's amazing. Yeah, it's super heavy guitar. It's great. The Ori soundtrack is incredible.
Ori is so
good. The dude who composed the music to Nuclear Throne is really good, and his dog looks identical to mine. It's really strange. So that, you know, I have to give that dude a shout out. It's real strange. Like, we'll put them side by side. I can't tell which one's my dog. So yeah,
I think my favorite video game music has always been Secret of Mana.
Oh, it's good.
And with the remake that's coming out,
I'm so excited. February, yeah. When
I first saw the trailer, and it opens up the same way as the original did, just in beautiful, glorious high def. And that song, that music starts. I just know exactly what I'm about to get.
That game's co-op too. I'm really interested in trying that.
Well, it was co-op. Before.
Yeah, and I don't think I ever played it co-op.
Yeah, because before you could control your characters and kind of set them to follow you or control them one-on-one.
Yeah, and I never played it.
But you could also do co-op. Yeah,
I'd really like to try the new one co-op. I think it'd be fun.
I'm super excited. But yeah, the music from that
is real good. Final Fantasy VI, I can hear that music anywhere, and it just, like, pulls out. The music from Link to the Past, same way. You know, that intro music. I mean, it's all just great. I listen to the Final Fantasy VI soundtrack all the time. It's
I
good.
need to listen to that.
It's
Is that
real good.
Final Fantasy 3?
Yeah.
Gotcha. I know what you're talking about. What's your favorite, sir? Great answer. So,
Oh, you're so funny.
I am so funny. Looks aren't everything.
Because I am kind of a hard rock and metal kind of guy. Doom is pretty great.
Oh God, it's just amazing.
That's so fun, and it was so fun to see that guy play that.
Yeah,
the
right.
Video Game
the
Awards.
Game Awards last
yeah,
year.
like that was awesome. But then I also am a big fan of Hotline Miami and Hotline Miami 2. Those soundtracks are great. It's kind of
Vice
like
City.
you're kind of like watching Drive.
Yeah.
Like you're listening to Drive as you're playing this game. It's got that 80s synthesizer influence,
cool.
and it's intense, and but it's so neon.
Yeah. Honorable mention, I think, to all the Grand Theft Auto games.
Yeah.
Like, they didn't write any of those musics,
But
but
the soundtracks
are so
Yeah,
good.
that was my next.
Burnout Paradise.
That's a
Kind
good
of
one.
not
Yeah.
quite the same, but I was going to say every time I hear Flock of Seagulls, I ran now is immediately Vice City.
Yep.
It will always be Vice City
Yep.
for me. And then same for Jane's Addiction Mountain Song, which was the trailer for San Andreas,
Yep.
so CNCJ. I think it was on Mount Chiliad listening to Jane's Addiction. So like there's moments like that in Grand Theft Auto where like those games are so intrinsically tied to those couple songs from the trailer, and it's like there's something to be said for that, particularly in those two Grand Theft Auto games.
Cool.
But-
Nice. Cool. Well, there's that.
Music.
Yeah, music's good. My favorite thing about the Grand Theft Auto games are the when it comes to soundtrack are the commercials and bits in between.
Oh,
the
so
songs
good.
are so
like how many times you hear the same bits and they're always funny.
yeah, they're always
Yep.
funny.
It's good stuff.
So
Laszlo.
thank you for that, John Crawdad. Next question from Rich. If you have to pick one console from all consoles, which would you pick? And the reverse, which one would be your least favorite?
Yeah, so I'm thinking of this as like a desert island. You know, like you can only bring one with you, and I don't know what
Pray that the electricity never goes out.
I don't know what the reverse of a desert island is. You're going to have every console except that one, I guess. I don't know exactly how that works, but I don't know. I think for me, it would.
I think he means the reverse of the question.
Yeah. For me, I think that would probably be the Xbox 360. Like, I almost want to say like exclude current gen because that seems like, of course, I'd want to take my.
Of course, I'd want the newest.
Yeah, my One X in theory. Like, hopefully, I'm getting stuck on a desert island a couple months from now.
That has internet, so you have Games Pass.
Right, yeah.
That's all you need.
I kind of think the 360, like, it had so many good games. The library is so big, and there are so many just amazing games from that generation. The
GTA
graphics
5
were
and Red Dead Redemption.
Yeah,
That's
the
all you
graphics were good enough that it's not like going back to like PlayStation 1, PlayStation 2, Xbox. Where like these games are hideous. And even though there's a lot, I mean, like probably my second choice would probably be SNES.
I was going to say that'd be my first choice.
Yeah, but I think I'd want something a little more modern. Although I guess maybe over like if I'm stuck in this desert island for the rest of my life, I suppose the SNES may. Well, I guess I was going to say my age better, but it doesn't really matter because you wouldn't know what current things look like. So it wouldn't. I think it's probably the 360 for me. And I guess if I had to leave one,
ColecoVision.
Wii U.
Oh, the Wii U was fun.
Yeah, I never really got into it though.
But you get 4 games to last you the rest of time.
Yeah,
so.
I own one, but it was never
one of those
like
is Breath of the Wild.
That's true. On the flip side, they're shutting down Miiverse, so
I know,
a
I
bunch
saw
of
that.
those aren't going to work anymore. Yeah, bummer. Anyway, what about you guys?
I would want a Super Nintendo just because that's what I grew up on, and that's what I know the most.
Think about all the good RPGs you could finally get around to play.
I know, right? And not the 3D blah 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 RPG crap that they've been doing, which is fine. But it's just I prefer what I grew up on RPG, the top down, the story, the talking or the reading, stuff like that. I like that.
It's good stuff.
Least favorite though would probably be like the
Atari,
like the Virtual Boy.
Everyone should just choose
I
the
would
Virtual
not
Boy.
bring the
Come on.
Virtual Boy with me. No, sir. Or would you want to take your PSVR with you? Oh, it's current gen. But would you want to take it with you because that way, or your Oculus or your Vive,
then I wouldn't have to be
you
on
wouldn't
an island
necessarily be
anymore.
on an island all the time.
That's something to think about. Can I just choose PC? That's what I want to bring.
It's
Not
on
PC.
console.
Oh, you're right.
It said console.
PSVR.
There you go.
Don't hurt yourself.
It's like I would love to be able to choose like the Xbox or PlayStation 2, but I don't know how I feel about keeping those graphics if I know what these
hard.
graphics look like. But I feel like that's the generation with the best games overall.
That's fair.
And of course, if we go back and play all those games, they're probably not going to feel the same. But like playing Time Splitters and like the amount of time I put into that era of games and the original Grand Theft Autos, and like that was a good time. But it would probably have to be Xbox 360 to really be able to last
forever.
Yeah, and if I had to leave one, as much as I hate to say it, it might be the N64 because I still don't know how to hold the controller.
Wow. I killed a guy with a trident.
It's got 3 handles.
I only have 2 hands. I don't know what to do. That's funny. That's super funny.
This game wants me to use the Z button and the D-pad. They're not even, but I don't even know.
That's a good point. Good point.
The GameCube controller is pretty stupid too. So,
GameCube controller is one of the best controllers ever made.
No.
Are you kidding me?
I've literally never held one, so I'm out of this fight.
I will bring mine in and let you. I will let you hold it. It is one of the best controllers ever made. Are you kidding me? Are you kidding me?
No.
There is a reason why they brought it back.
The C buttons are a joystick.
The C button is a joystick.
What is that?
I don't even know what a C button is.
They were the yellow buttons on the N64
stick.
Controller.
I don't know what this even looks like. Bring yours in. I'll hold it.
The GameCube controller is terrible.
You'll be the deciding vote on this.
Are you thinking of the N64 controller?
No,
I already called that one out. That one's
But
real
still.
stupid because it has 3 prongs.
Anyway, okay, we're moving on now. Thank you, Rich. Miles asks us, what video game character would you like to hang out with? Who do you want to kick it with?
Man.
The Rabbids.
Okay.
Come here, my minions. Let's raise hell.
I can totally see Dylan as like the king of the rabbits.
Right?
I'd get after it.
Oh, that's amazing. Who would I want to hang out with? That's a tough one, because a lot of video game characters are really, really cool, but I have a hard time thinking about like what video game character I want to go have a beer with.
Duke Nukem?
No, because I think the thing is I love playing as Duke Nukem, but
bro.
Yeah, like I would hate Duke Nukem in real life.
It's like I already know that guy, and I don't want to hang out with him.
Like I don't want to hang out with any of the guys from Grand Theft Auto. Yeah,
that's my high school,
right? You don't want to hang out with the guy from Grand Theft Auto. They're all criminals,
Fine. Good drugs and money.
I guess. They're always getting shot at.
Still alive.
Yeah.
If I'm hanging out with them,
know, but I mean, like Mario's are okay, but they're like plumbers on LSD,
right?
And I mean, you want to hang out with Link? Like he keeps losing his girlfriend,
and all he does, he's got what was that?
He can't even decide how old he is.
Talk, I don't think.
Was it your brother that posted his most powerful sword in the universe? Uses it to cut grass 90% of the time, something like that. Like this kid's not smart.
They got some life things to figure out before I hang out with them.
I think that's the thing is I like to play as these characters, but I don't know if I want to hang out with these characters.
Like, gosh, I'm such a perv sometimes because I'm like, I would hang out with Kratos because he's hot. I'm like, there's that. But then
that
it's
guy's
like,
he's got some anger issues, though. You should probably not.
There's some Darkstalkers characters that I wouldn't mind chilling with.
Yeah, right.
All right.
But at the same time, like, I don't know. I think hanging out with. I don't effing know.
I'm Mr. Cooper. Mr. Cooper.
Hanging with Mr. Cooper. Wow, I see what you did
Adam
there.
gets real cursy in the morning when we record.
I didn't say it. I said effing.
That is true.
I know that this is a PG show. So people give you like, effing means what's that? That means farting, sir.
Exactly.
Yes, I just said farting. It's so early. Yeah, I don't know who I'd want to hang out with, honestly.
Yeah, I can't. No one is popping to mind. A lot of people are popping. Like I'm like, no.
Every bad one, like Leisure Suit Larry.
Oh God, that would be hilarious. Okay, Leisure Suit Larry, that's my choice.
Right?
Finally, a guy that I'm less awkward than.
Yeah. I'm gonna look real good next to this guy. We're gonna go to the bar.
What's the game where you do the loop-de-loops and the character like he's playing on these toys, like it's like a on rails kind of thing where you have to do these. It was a free game on PS Plus. It was like Joe. You did a video.
Oh yeah, that was super fun. Action Hank.
Action Hank.
Yeah.
I want to hang out with that guy.
There you go. Yeah.
Because he's a chubby dude who's very athletic.
That's true.
I want to know what it feels like. I want to know what it's like to do that.
I can get behind
that.
I
need some pointers.
I like it.
Here's that.
I like it. Yeah. I think he's also a toy. That's irrelevant
fine.
to you? Okay.
I don't give a crap.
Good.
Thank you for that, Miles. Sorry if it wasn't a deep enough answer for you, but what we got. It's what you get at 9
The moral
o'clock in the
of the
morning.
story is video game characters aren't as cool as
you want to think.
you think.
Right?
Yeah.
When we think we're cooler than video game characters that we want to hang out with.
They usually have big issues or are criminals,
Right.
which is probably also a big issue.
All right, let's move on. Thank you for all the questions, guys, this week. Moving on to cheap free games. Up first, there is the Humble Bundle. Humble Fart.
Jumbo Humble Bundle.
Humble Bundle Jumbo Bumble.
No, it's the Humble Jumbo Bundle 9.
The Humble Bundle Jumbo Bundle 9?
There's some good games in this.
Really? Are there, though?
Yeah, for $1, get The Flame in the Flood. It's a really cool survival game. Try it out. It's real fun. And it's got an amazing soundtrack. The soundtrack of that game is incredible.
Okay.
Human Fall Flat is also in the $1. It looks really fun as well. End Times Vermintide is a really cool 4v4 Left 4 Dead clone in the Warhammer universe, which I'd love for more people.
Fun if people had it.
Yeah, I already own it, so if like 3 other people could buy it, that would be really helpful. That's in the $5. So $5 for Vermintide's a really good deal. And I've heard really good thing about Verdun. It's like a very realistic World War I first-person shooter. And the Samorost actually is supposed to be quite good, too.
We've got it in our library on Steam.
Oh, good.
Yeah.
Excellent.
And the Bite Me podcast one.
Nice. It's an exploration, adventure, and puzzle game, which I'm big into.
Yeah, I got it on my Android.
Oh, it's okay.
It's okay. It's kind of, what is your word you use?
Obtuse.
Yeah, it's kind of obtuse. Let's go with that.
And then for $10, you can get American Truck Simulator. I don't know why you would. Although there's a huge community of people that do these American Truck Simulators and the European Truck Simulators. There's huge streaming radio stations that people listen to, and they do the whole CB culture, talking to other people playing it. There's a really strange truck driving subculture in video games. That's all they play, and it's weird. But
so what do? You just drive a truck around the country?
Yeah. Literally, you're just making deliveries from place to place and seeing the countryside in real time.
Sounds relaxing and very zen in a way, but
yeah.
Can I just go off the rails, though?
Oh, I'm sure. I guess, there's really not any difference between that than people that like to do, I had a buddy whose dad used to play, NASCAR races in, the old NASCAR game, and he'd do 500 real-time laps.
That's crazy.
Just turning left. Or, people that love flight sims and just, I'm going to fly an airplane from New York to, Omaha. So, it takes all kinds. It's not my jam, but for $10, maybe it's your gym. So, anyways, Humble Bundle. Donate to charity.
Humble Jumbo Bundle.
I think I'd stick at the pay more than average to unlock.
Yeah, let's do that. Up next, PlayStation Plus.
Yeah, so this got leaked yesterday, day before, and it turns out the leak was actually right. Yay!
Oh, of course. I've paid for both of those games.
Yeah, I have too. So actually, no, that's interesting. The leak was actually wrong then, because it said it was going to be Infamous Second Son and Child of Light, which it is not. Child of Light's an amazing game, and you should buy it if you don't already own it.
So good.
It's gorgeous. Infamous Second Son's real cool. Dylan talked about it earlier. Set in Seattle. You get to blow stuff up, which is cool. I'm not familiar with Strike Vector X. Are you?
I don't have the updated list of stuff.
Oh, sorry. Yeah.
So here we go.
I apologize.
That's okay. What is it now?
Strike Vector X is a competitive first-person aerial combat game.
No clue.
That satisfies every gamer's dream of waging dizzying dogfights with super-powered aircraft.
How did they know what my dream was?
Not my thing.
Goodness.
I've yet to play a game where I fly around in the air and enjoy doing so.
Afterburner.
All right.
Afterburner. You gotta love Afterburner.
I can't, this looks interesting.
I don't know.
It's like a first-person, or maybe it's third-person. I can't really tell. First person. This actually looks really fun. It's $12. It has pretty good reviews, so it might be all right. We'll see. Infamous is real good, though.
Oh, it's a third person.
I can't tell if it's third or first person.
Oh, wait,
to be honest.
No, that's first person.
Yeah, it looks like first person to me inside the ship. So it might be all right.
Now this is third person.
Yeah, I can't tell. Maybe you can do both. Monster Jam Battlegrounds is actually a monster truck game for the PS3.
Oh, yeah. I remember hearing about that
my kid used to love playing Monster Jam games. They're all terrible. This one has a mostly negative review on Steam, so I would not hold your breath of it being good. They control like crap. They are very whatever. The other PS3 game this month is a pool game, as in
Hustle Kings?
Yeah. Literally you are playing pool. So
I love pool games. I'm weird. I like pool and tennis games, and pool, tennis, and golf.
So,
golf
like,
in particular.
Everybody Golf released yesterday.
I'm very excited. Yeah. I need to buy it.
Hue is actually an interesting platformer.
I think I've got that somewhere.
Yeah, puzzle platformer where you use color to get through different parts of the world. It looks interesting. It's you don't see color. It's a PS Vita game cross-buy with PS4, so that's cool. And then Skyforce Anniversary is a top-down shmup, very 1942, 1943 looking, except I think it's more future-y than that. Right. Well, maybe not. I don't know. It looks real. I'm a big fan of those kind of games, so that looks fun. And that's actually cross-buy with PS Vita, PS4, and PS3.
Nice.
So yeah, some good PlayStation games this month.
Yes, it is. And that's also it.
Yep. Well, I'm gonna complain about
we're gonna go to our
Sony
corner to wrap
little
things
bit.
up.
My brother actually hit this up. So PlayStation for the last couple of weeks actually has been doing a big thing where you can rent a bunch of movies for $1, right? It's a pretty good deal.
Oh, now I see why this is a problem.
Yeah.
Okay.
And so the problem is if you don't have any money in your PlayStation account and you want to rent a movie for $1, you can't just give Sony $1 like you can on the Xbox and even the Switch now. Literally everyone's gotten away from this practice in the current generation, except for Sony, where if you want to put $1, if you want to buy a thing that's $1 or anything that's less than $5, actually, you have to put $5 in your account. So to rent a $1 movie, you pay $5 and then just end up with $4 in credit.
Oh, that's annoying.
But the really annoying thing is if you want to buy something. So let's say you're like, okay, so I bought my movie for $1. I've got $4 in my account, right? I want to buy something that costs $8. You can't just give them an extra $4. You have to give them an extra $5. So now you have $1 left in your account.
Really?
It's endless.
It's literally endless.
Oh, so annoying.
It's super annoying, and it's really just the assumption is to avoid credit card charges. It's not worth for them to pay $1. But I mean, if Apple can figure out a way to make money on $1 microtransactions, I'm pretty sure Sony can. So throw them in troll corner. It's dumb. It's something that is so last gen that I can't even imagine. You may as well be selling Sony points like they used to.
Those days were.
So I got $1. That gives me 80 Microsoft points, and so 80 So this thing's 540 Microsoft points.
That's so crazy.
Let's get away from that. Anyway.
I'm sorry. I just got tuned into a Super Meat Boy Forever PAX West trailer.
I'm very excited.
For the Nintendo Switch.
I will play Super Meat Boy anywhere they give it to me.
It's more of a side scroller than it is just like an actual room you go through, though.
Oh. There were some levels like that.
There were some. Yeah. That's what looks like the whole thing is. Anyway, that's cool. So, hey, that's that for our show.
Yeah, PAX is this weekend, so we're going to come back with all sorts of PAX information.
And ID at Xbox is tomorrow.
ID at Xbox is tomorrow. Dylan and Adam are not here next week, so I'm going to try and put together some sort of show. We'll see.
It'll be good stuff. Maybe you'll just pop the mic on and go, I played Rocket League, and then walk away.
Yep, it'll be 30 seconds. Now, we'll do something. We're hoping to get a bunch of footage and interviews at PAX, so hopefully we'll have a bunch of that stuff up on our YouTube channel. Probably do a special PAX podcast with interviews and stuff. Hopefully, I don't know. We're winging this thing. We'll see how it goes.
Sweet.
I'm in the search for a chair at PAX.
A game chair?
Yeah.
Game chair. He wants a racer.
Oh, I need to get a game. I was looking at some the other day.
I sat in one at Fry's and it was pretty comfortable, but
I didn't like them.
But I noticed the armrests were very wide. Like they think that.
Well, that's very strange because everyone I've sat in, I'm like, oh god, my body is much too large for this chair. Why are the armrests so close?
I can't even spread my arms out and get them on it. I'm like this. I'm like, nee.
Interesting.
You can't see what I'm doing, but it was awkward. So Cliff says there's going to be some of those at PAX. So I'm going to try them and give you the full report.
Nice.
Because my current chair squeaks and I get complaints about it.
I got my car.
I apparently need to get a new chair.
I got my chair
fine
from
with me.
Target 15 years ago.
I got my chair from our office here when they redesigned.
Nice. All right. Well, there is that. If you're at PAX or if you're going to be at ID at Xbox, go ahead and say hello to us, and we'll have stickers and stuff to hand out. So, yeah. But otherwise, just follow us on all the social medias. Bite Me, BYTE Me, podcast.com, at Bite Me Podcast on Facebook, Twitter, YouTube, Mixer, Twitch.
All those places.
All of it. So, yeah, next time I do my Mixer, I'll make sure I have the game audio coming through. That was dumb.
You'll be able to find us at PAX if I'm with Dylan, because Dylan has a shirt.
Oh, yeah, and Dylan's also 9.5 feet tall.
I'm a beacon of light.
Look for a super tall guy
hope.
wearing a Bite Me shirt. That will be Dylan.
Yep.
Nice.
I might wear a hat
There'll be a
too.
shorter fat guy next to him. That'll be me.
He's not that
I'm
short
not going
though.
to be there.
Yeah, but next to Dylan, he's 6 inches taller than I am.
Yeah.
I'm almost 6'1", and he towers over me. Anyway,
There's that. Well, thanks for hanging out.
see you guys.
Bye, man.